So in the new show Arcane that's on Netflix, Jinx is another forced sympathy villain from what I've seen. Just from me watching the show, I just noticed a whole lot of forced sympathy, forced moments that more or less make you feel things for the character rather than just enjoying the character in general, because the character is pretty darn popular. Well, debatably popular. She's not 100% popular. There's some that like her, some that don't, and she's pretty much a balanced average character, but she's pretty arguably popular. I think it's safe to say that she's popular in Arcane, and that's not Arcane. Wild Rift, the game that Arcane is based on. So she's popular, but she I guess the writers thought she needed a boost or something, or they have a personal attachment to the character and did not want her to be, just a regular old bad villain, because they don't know how to write enjoyable villains, or they don't understand the concept of enjoyable villains. So this is basically I'm mostly gonna start reading maybe rereading some comments that I made on an EFAP video, EFAP number 170. EFAP number 170, where, yeah, hold on, I had to go to it so I can see what the video was about, because I forgot. I think it was just a discussion. It was 170. I think it was a discussion about things. No, it was the book of Boba. It was an EFAB of the book of Boba Fett, and how he's just sorry, how he's just just horribly written in his own TV show, which is kind of where I agree with. If you have a character and that character is supposed to be antagonistic or questionably, basically not a hero, then write them that way. And then write them that way. Don't try to make them. Don't try too hard to make them sympathetic. Don't try to make them understandable, or the misunderstood stood trope, because that's what they did to Jinx. But they're also, they definitely did it with the Tuscan Raiders in the book of Boba Fett, which is, yeah, I never really cared for the Raiders, and I know they're not exactly well received at the Star Wars fan base, especially when you consider the fact that they killed Anakin's mother. So in the book of Boba Fett, they made the wrong move. But I went to the comment section because they were talking about it in their show, and they were talking about Arcane in their show. Right? They seen it, they more or less like it, and they understandably, Arcane is an entertaining show, but I really hate how people are just ignoring the flaws of Arcane. It is perfect. Is literally perfection when you compare it to the atrocities like The Last Jedi, which made zero darn sense. They fucking Snoke just like that without explaining who he is or why he is. He literally just killed him off, and literally laughed at how stupid of a decision that was when I saw it in theaters. Like, oh, so they just killed him? Oh, that's great. But like all TV shows, nothing is actually perfect. You still should criticize and see the flaws within the show, while it's still praising what works for it. So a lot of YouTubers have been saying that Jinx is, no, not Jinx. They said the show is overseas, but they never mentioned anything about Jinx. They just said that the show is just flawlessly perfect. But again, that's understandable. There's been horrible content made recently, like that just awful Santa, that Christmas thing or whatever. I wouldn't even call it a Christmas thing, because it was Christmas related, but it's not a traditional Christmas short, which is kind of the problem. It was just awful, and we have content like that out, and we had Spider-Man No Way Home, which just dominated. everything. We had the Matrix, which was just horrible. It was just straight trash, awful trash. And I don't need to watch it. I'm never gonna watch an awful trash film that I know is just awfully bad and saves my money. I'm not doing that. But Jinx is flawed as hell. The character makes no sense because they kept trying to make you feel sympathy for her. They want you to feel bad for the predicament that she comes in. And I felt it in when I watched the first 3 episodes. And I felt that it was forced because once I started using logic and rationalizing the scenes that they were in, I felt like they were forcing you to feel stuff for Jinx. Because one of the things I don't think I noticed it when I was watching it. It happened after episode 3 is when I started to notice the problems with trying to make her sympathetic. Because you have to actually explain to me how a child marksman is fucking useless to her scavenger group. They're scavengers. They're infiltrating, and they need to have skills that requires self-defense. I forgot what. Milo was the pickpocketer, and I don't remember what the big guy's name was because he barely talked, I guess, or anybody. He barely had interactions with him. But he did one thing that was important, but then had the last scene. But I forgot what the big guy's name was, and I forgot what his specialty was. But Milo was the pickpocket. Vi was the leader, and she was a boxer. So she's basically an intuitive fighter. That's her skill set. Jinx was supposed to be a tinkerer. She was supposed to make tinkerings or trinkets or whatever, and they were failing, and they never did work out for her. So that's fine. That's perfectly fine, and that's perfectly okay. But they also made her a marksman. A fucking marksman, a child marksman, and she's the useless one? No, that's not how that works. She's a fucking marksman. She literally doesn't know the definition of the word miss. So that was a stupid move, and it got absolutely worse after episode 3, because after episode 3 and episode 4. Actually, I'll go ahead and explain that later. I'm doing this by way of PowerPoint because I just suck that bad at video editing on Premiere Pro, so I use PowerPoint to script it and for visuals and cards and whatnot. So, but Vi was actually all right. She got the better end of the writing stick because she was well written. She's a real street kid. She's rough around the edges. She's not a horrifying, hashtag representation type character, which is thank the fucking God, because we're sick to death of that. Vi is just a classic, regular street kid. Something she looks like she relates mostly to, I guess, 80s or 90s kids who grew up in the 80s or the 90s on the streets and joining gangs or whatnot. She looks like she comes from that type of background, and people who come from that type of background will relate to Vi and like her because of that. Not because the stupid hashtag women or all that other bullshit that we've never been hearing about. And they're just sick to death of. But she was well written, but she did make some weird decisions that I find just very questionable and makes me make a weird face. Like, why would you do that? But in all, when the massives do review Arcane, I just hope that they point out these flaws if they see them. If they see them as flaws too, I hope they point this out, and they don't just mindlessly worship Arcane, which they never actually do. They never mindlessly worship things. They valuably criticize films and still like them regardless. So I hope they do that with Arcane, because that's what this needs. Because people are just mindlessly worshiping the show. They're appreciating the show for existing, and nobody's being critical or having proper nerd discussions on how flawed Jinx is. Most of my problem is with Jinx, which is what most of the video is gonna focus on. Specifically, episode basically 1 to 3, mostly 2 and 3, because there's some things that happened in two. The marksman reveal happened in 2. Episode 3 is when they try to justify Jinx's insanity. It was just horrible. It was just a whole lot of forced stuff. Because once I started using rationality, everything just didn't make sense. So I went ahead and tallied a basic list, and I'm gonna go through the list. I listed this on the comment section. I'm basically just rereading because these are my basic footnotes for making this video, and so that's what I'm relying on. Excuse my chair. Jinx's insanity makes literally no goddamn sense, and the writers never should have tried to justify why she is the way she is. They should have just left her exactly the way she was in the games and just make her, an enjoyable character. She's enjoyable in the game. She has literally no problems, and she's well received. She's a spunk style character. She likes to blow stuff up, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. That's really people can find entertainment in that. And she makes jokes when she blows people up. Like it comes off that she doesn't really care about blowing things up. She just likes to blow stuff up and blow up people. I mean, it's a combat based game, so she has to sound a little edgy when she blows up her enemies. So they made a decent decision making her that way, and it's entertaining, it's enjoyable. People play the game, and they want to hear her make these jokes about blowing stuff up and relate to that. That is literally all Jinx needs to be likable. They did not have to go any fucking further than that. None whatsoever. But they did anyway. So number 2, Jinx being a marksman does not make her useless. I already mentioned this before, but I'm gonna explaining it further. It was a fucking stupid decision to show that she doesn't know the definition of the word miss. Exactly what I said. I'm repeating myself because that's what I wrote. She doesn't know the definition of the word miss. She obliterated Milo in their little shooting range game that she made work. So she definitely is a tinkerer. She knows how to fuck with electronics, power cords and whatnot. She knows how to wire stuff, and she's a very good rookie engineer. Yeah, so she fixed up the machine and she destroyed Milo in it, and she gave him a fucking face like, now what? Like she made a face that just basically just shut the fuck up and stop shitting on me. And now to look back at that scene after watching it, I'm just like, if she's that fucking good, why is everybody treating her like she's useless? Like everybody talks about her like she's a dead weight, and I'm like, but she's a marksman. That's not a fucking dead weight, you idiots. She's actually useful. Okay, yeah, she's clumsy, but she's like, y'all are any better. You're all kids. You're not. You ain't the shit. You make your fair share of mistakes, and so does Jinx. Why are you belittling her based on that and that alone? It's stupid, and it makes no damn sense. And it really, I guess kids are just that stupid. I mean, yeah, yes, kids would do that, but when you write it in the show, can you make it understandable and relatable and makes put some sense making into it just a little bit? Because when I see kids belittling another kid because for reasons that aren't actually good reasons, I'm just gonna laugh at and I'm just gonna shrug my face and say, y'all a bunch of stupid ass motherfuckers, and I can't relate to the kids because they're acting like a bunch of idiots. You're belittling somebody for literally no good reason, and they did this with Jinx because she's a marksman, and they're belittling her for everything else and not appreciating the fact that she's a marksman. The big guy even acknowledged that powder destroys Milo on the daily, but she's useless. That doesn't add up well. That really doesn't. So let me find my footing. She's somehow dead weight into the group, based on what the writers implied, saying showed in episode 2 where she just melts the target practice machines. Why the fuck did they make her a marksman? Why the fuck would they the games, right? Because Jinx uses a hand, she holds a hand turret in the games, gonna come back to the fact that you don't actually have to aim with that. Not like a sniper rifle. Not like a sniper rifle, which she does have a pistol on her, and she is good with the pistol, but she mostly uses that turret. And the way I see her use that turret, she is not aiming with that turret. You point and fire with it. Aiming is not really required. A rapid fire is going to do that for you, which is kind of the main criticism of AK-47s. As a happy triggers and AK-47s, you just pull the trigger and just let the bullets fly. Hell, even video games taught me not to do that when it comes to AK-47s. But if she has that type of gun, why the hell does she have aimings? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe you do actually have to have like actual marksman level skills to use a turret. Maybe you do. But she does. But I don't know. I feel like that's a useless skill in the grand scheme of things. I really don't think anyone cares about that technicality that you actually have to be a marksman to use a machine turret. That really doesn't make sense, because you could just use area like you point the turret in the area, and the rapid fire will do the job for you. And this is a machine turret. You're supposed to basically just melt away. I don't think aiming is required for that. I really don't think so. I could be wrong though. So in the game she has a mini turret, and that's why they justify Jinx being a marksman. But that's soon gonna fall out on its head. And when I further explain that, I'm still going through the list. That was number 2. This is number 3. The scene in episode 3 where Vi literally outright blames Powder for everything that happened. Her child sister, her very vulnerable, not well defense in childhood sister. She literally blames her for everything that happened in episode 3. Like, what the fuck? That's your child's sister. What the hell are you doing? I mean, shit. If I was carrying my dad's corpse and I laid him to rest, and Aaron basically tells me with tears, I said his name, but that's my younger brother's name. If he came to me with tears rolling down his eyes that he accidentally played a part, I'm gonna fucking hug my brother. That's awful. That he involuntarily played a part in all this, and there's tears rolling down his face. I'm not gonna fucking shit on him for that. That's a dick move, and I'm not saying I'm the best brother, but I actually do appreciate my brother's existence. So I'm not gonna do that when it comes to tough times like this, especially if I'm holding my dead father, our dead dad. Like, come on, that's stupid. That scene felt so forced. I think the writers might have been a fucking Jedi. There was so level of force in that character interaction from start to finish. Like when Powder, because that's who Jinx was before she became Jinx. And so I'm swapping the names to show Powder as young Jinx and Jinx as older Jinx. So I'm gonna split it like that. When Powder came running to Vi explaining that her bombs work, the fucking kid didn't even look at who Vi was standing over. What the hell? Did you not see? That's your father figure. That's Vander's on the floor. Did she not see him? I don't think she did. And I can't really like pull up the show because I don't have Netflix on my computer. I have Netflix on my TV. I could turn it on and go rewatch the episode right this second, but you would want visual of my effect, and I don't think I can go find it, download that. I'm pretty much put this video together, and this is basically a video of my thoughts, not really a strong critique and review. I won't go that far, but it was so forced. Why would you talk to your younger vulnerable sibling like that with tears rolling down their eyes? And freaking Powder didn't even acknowledge that she may have played a part in this. And I wrote a little script at the end of this that kind of fixes that fucking problem. Vi should have been grief stricken. She should have been horrified at the fact that Powder played a part in this. She should not be angry at her. I mean, yeah, she should be angry, but she should be angry at the situation, not taking that shit out on your fucking sibling. Like, what the hell? Seriously, that makes no sense. I'm not justifying that. I'm not justifying that at all because I am an older sibling, and I have had rough patches with my younger brother. We fought a lot, but I'm not gonna fucking blame him if he accidentally participated in his father's death. You don't do that. That's stupid. It's bullshit. To say that a sibling would do that. You cared for Powder ever since Vander's found you. Why the hell would you just put a spin on that when it was just forced. To me, it was forced. Because there's a better execution of how that went down. But like I said, Vi should have been grief-stricken. She should have broken down and should have collapsed on her knees and just started sobbing at the harsh reality that been filled onto these two girls. Because that's, to me, that's normal to react that way. Like, how are you supposed to? Who the hell are you gonna blame? Blame for this? You're gonna blame Vi for this? Because she went there to tried to rescue Vanders? No. Are you gonna blame Vanders for this because of his past? Well, that's not really fair. I mean, and you could, but that's not really fair for Vanders. Like, who are you gonna supposed to blame? That's why I say it doesn't make any goddamn sense, because you can't actually blame anybody. Vi basically knew full damn well that her sister did not have the worst intentions. She fucking knows this. But she's gonna blame, like, literally look Powder right in the eyes and say, "Oh, you did this? Ah, I guess Milo was right. You are Jinx. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get that stick out of your ass. It must be stuck in there tight. So you're gonna have a little Murphy moment, but get that stick out of your ass and actually have some sympathy for your sister's situation. Unfucking believable." Yeah, Vi and Jinx's whole conversation is horrible from start to finish. Like I said, I would never treat my brother like this if I was in Vi's situation. I would never fucking do that. It's bullshit to blame your sibling for situations that they nor you have zero control over. I just said my mind. If you have no control over it, you really cannot blame. You can be upset, yes. You can be frustrated, yes. But you can't blame your younger sibling. It's not optional. I don't know, man. Vi should act like a better older sibling than that. But I guess that's Vi's flaw. I guess that's Vi's flawed character moment, which is okay. But that whole interaction literally could have been better. It literally could have been so much better. Fucking Powder did not see Vanders on the floor. She never did. I really don't think she did. I could go rewatch the episode, but I really don't think that she did. Actually, I think I might just go do that, rewatch that scene just so I can have that fact straight. But I'm gonna finish this list, and then I'll go do that in between. Number 4, Jinx's whole hallucination gig doesn't work. Period. It really doesn't. They try to have me feel bad for Jinx that she has this hallucination. She's being haunted by her actions, and it almost worked. It almost would have worked, except the writers went ahead and forgot to show, don't tell. They tried to passively tell me as a viewer. Tell me that Jinx saw what she did to Milo and the big guy when she sent her bombs in. Now, funny enough, in episode 2, they decided not to address that because Powder didn't even fucking see Vanders on the floor. She didn't even take in consideration that what her bombs actually did. She didn't actually see the fucking results because she never even acknowledged Vanders on the floor. I'm really gonna go rewatch that episode to make sure that. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna make the correction in next voiceover because I need to verify that. But Jinx never saw what she did to Milo and the big guy. She never actually saw the aftermath of what she actually did. Well, I didn't see her see that, so I have no fucking clue. I had the slightest fucking idea of what Jinx knows. Well, if the show had took the time to establish that in a nice, good sequence in episode 2, or in a nice little tidbit, maybe Silco could have fucking mentioned it.
But no, they didn't do that. They didn't go. They didn't delve into that. They didn't address it. They just in the ether. There it is in the ether. You can't see it, but it's there. So you see Jinx with these hallucinations, and I'm sitting here constantly asking every time those fucking hallucinations show up. I'm constantly asking, how the hell is Jinx having these hallucinations if she didn't actually see what she did to Milo? Because every time I see Milo's face at Fight standing behind Jinx, I'm like, can you get the fuck out of here? I don't know why you're here. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what your hallucinations are doing. I don't know why they're here, because I don't know if Jinx actually saw them. Saw their dead bodies. I don't actually know. I can't verify because the show did not fucking tell me. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they told me. I'm still in number 4. The writers forgot the show and don't tell, and they just really expect me and the rest of the audience to just, because human beings have emotions on the default. That's a goddamn fact, and there's no changing that. Further my position on this whole culture war fiasco, where you're evil for having feelings and you're evil if you use logic. It's just utter bullshit. This is the emotional thing. So I'm a position of it's a fact that human beings have emotions, but just because we do have emotions does not mean you can just pull this type of shit and expect us to just mindlessly feel stuff for you. That's not how human beings work, and that's not how our intellectual capacity works. We don't operate like that, and anybody who thinks we do is fucking wrong and is a goddamn idiot. I don't feel things or sympathize with Jinx's situation because of when it comes to her hallucinations, because of the sheer fact that I have no fucking clue whether she saw the bodies or not. That's a big issue. You want me to feel things for Jinx, but I fucking don't, because I gotta ask, did she see the bodies? Because I don't know. It's a very big problem. That's a whole issue with the hallucinations, and just her whole, like me just feeling sorry for her and all general, because I really can't get past that. That's a big major monkey wrench in this whole functionality of sympathizing with Jinx, because they executed this whole sympathy villain stick for Jinx horrifically. I'll be sure to go into detail if I haven't already done. But the hallucinations just don't work. It didn't work for me, and really they annoyed the absolute crap out of me. Her hallucinations should have been done the way it was done in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Literally, that was the only good thing about that fucking film. George Stacy just appearing in places, and Peter Parker isn't actually having. Well, okay, yes, they're hallucinations, but they're not the drunken the pink elephant type hallucinations. They're not that type of hallucinations. What they are is they're a manifestation of Peter Parker's guilt. The human mind is very complex. They think that this is how you explain that. That's not how you explain it. In Amazing Spider-Man, they explained it well, because it's your guilt in a form of manifestation that is George Stacy haunting the shit out of Peter for telling Gwen Stacy that he's Spider-Man instead of keeping her out of his superhero affairs. And they did those scenes so fucking good, because that's actually relatable. I don't have no one hallucinates on the daily, but that guilt, that guilt effect, it actually does work, and it actually does wonders for sympathy, because we've all done and said things that we're not proud of, that are actually wrong, that make us kind of cringe, like, oh my god, why did I do that? Why did I say that? This is perfect, because George Stacy died helping Spider-Man in the first Spider-Man film, an Amazing Spider-Man film, where he fought the Lizard. The Lizard killed him, I think, which is pretty awful, but yeah, the way they did those scenes, they just had George Stacy and embody a cop, and Peter Parker just looking at George Stacy as he sees, and he just doesn't say anything. He just sees the George Stacy hallucinations, and hallucination is literally making a dead ass eye contact back at Peter, and it was just brilliantly executed, because you know why he has those hallucinations, because they showed you why in the first film. So it wasn't forced. It was good sympathy. It was perfectly well executed sympathy. It was fucking brilliant there, because Peter wasn't going crazy. He was feeling guilt in a form of Gwen Stacy's father. It was a guilt form of hallucination. And it was executed just flawlessly spit on. A good visual execution of hallucinations by way of guilt. They did not do this shit for Jinx at all whatsoever, and they fucked it up, because I don't know if Jinx saw her corpse, and saw the Milo's corpse and whatnot. And that's literally the whole problem with number 4. And you didn't show me seeing Jinx. Show me seeing Jinx, seeing what the fruition of what she done, sending that bomb in, and have her react to that. Just do it like that. That's all they had to do. It's very easy to do this if you look at other forms of media. It's very easy to do it. You can't just show this shit out of fucking random. You have to explain it. You have to show it. Not just, they didn't even tell. They just left it in the fucking ether. Just here it is. It's over there. You can't see it, but it's there. You just gotta know that it's there. You gotta feel that it's there. You gotta feel for it. You just gotta have the fees for it. Just that. Number five, and which is basically mostly a conclusion with everything that is wrong with Jinx, by the way the writer's execution of forcing her to be sympathy. And basically, if it ain't broke, don't fuck with it. Don't. They didn't fix anything. They fucked with it. They decided to put their 2 cents in here when it really was not fucking needed at all whatsoever. Game Jinx was fine. She was okay. She was great, and I don't like Jinx. She's not my favorite character in League of Legends Wild Rift, but other people like her. Why? Well, I already explained why. She blows stuff up. She cracks jokes when she does it, and she gets a kick out of total mayhem. Now, who does that sound like? It sounds like a certain character that Blizzard made, and he is actually my favorite character to play when I was playing Overwatch, and I had a jolly damn good time playing him. My favorite line from that character is when you set the trap. I do this all the time for his Junkrat, because I'm already about to name other characters. It's Junkrat. When I play Junkrat, I set the trap for the speeding mobile characters like Genji, Lucio, and Tracer. I set it right there on the fucking payload, and every time someone steps in it, he gives a line that says, "Looks like you really stepped in it, mate." I think that's fucking hilarious, and I think that's fucking genius, and it's great. I don't need you to justify why Junkrat is, basically a lunatic, an explosive obsessed lunatic. He's not actually crazy, but he's basically a lunatic. I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. I think it's entertaining. I think it's funny. I don't need a damn explanation for that. And the same goes for Jinx. You don't need to explain it. You don't have to explain it. She's fucking fine just the way she is. If they just work with her characteristics and built a story based on those characteristics alone, the show, I would have liked Jinx, and Jinx would have been a likable villain. She would have been an excellent villain. But there lies the problem. The writers didn't want her to be a villain. I read that somewhere. I wish I could go find it. I actually tried looking for it, but I forgot where it was. It was a random article, and I believe it was written by someone, or I think it was a comment section. Yeah, I think it was a comment section, but basically the writers said that they did not want Jinx to be just to be an outright villain, because why? I'm assuming hashtag all women aren't villains. It just ruins the fun of enjoying a female villain character. So I have no idea why they did this. I think I do, but I don't actually know. I haven't actually read any articles that said why the writers did what they did for Jinx. All I do see is mindless praise, because mental health awareness. Like, yeah, I have mental issues too, but this is not the way to do it, man. This is not the way to do it. Don't fucking sit here and say that I don't have to. take consequences for my actions because I have mental issues. That is utter bullshit, and that damn well for sure is not how reality works. It ain't because I'm a guy. It's just because that's just not how it works. Same goes for women. Don't do it to Jinx because it's just awful. I'm going on a rant and I'm going on a tirade. So excuse me for that. But Game Jinx was just fine. She did not need sympathy. She didn't need justification. She's a loony character who likes to blow stuff up. Just leave it at that. Don't justify. Don't explain it. Just leave it at that. People are the way they are. There isn't always going to be a fucking justification. Just leave it at that. Just leave it alone. She's a lunatic who likes big explosions and is all around chaotic. Great. Wonderful. But leave it to the whole show of Arcane, the first three, really the whole show Arcane, to fuck all that up nice and royal. As if anyone needs to sympathize or understand her in order to like her. You really don't. You don't need to. You don't have to. You don't need to. It's nice to have that in your villain's characters, but you don't always need it to enjoy a villain. Just have a villain character. Really, just have a villain character, and don't treat him like he's too important. You can build up to that over time as you go along, but just have you a villain and just like Darkseid from DC's Superman. He's not sympathetic. He's understandable really because he thoroughly explains his plans and his ideals or whatnot, so you can understand his point of view. But he's not sympathized. Why? You don't need him to be sympathized. You want somebody who can put Superman on the back burner. Just Darkseid did that, and he did it great. He doesn't need to be sympathized. He just needs to be a good villain, and he did that without the sympathy. Why can't Jinx do that? Why couldn't you just leave that for Jinx? Why did you have to make her sympathize? Because I don't think you did, and I don't think Jinx is as mentally ill character in the games alone. I mean, yeah, she has some voice lines, but really that's more of a haunting. I don't think she's actually mentally unstable. I don't think she's anything like the way Harley Quinn is. They're both manic, but I don't think they're both Jinx is crazy in the game like she is, like Harley Quinn is in DC Comics with the whole Stockholm syndrome and whatnot. She is crazy, but she does make sense to a degree. So really, they did not have to do that because the game didn't have any of that. So don't put it there. Just leave it alone. Like Vi is more or less the same as I think her video game counterpart. I think she's more or less the same, but they fleshed her out. They didn't do that with Jinx. They tried to. They think they did, and people are praising them, so they think they did, but they didn't. I saw the cracks within this character, and I'm pointing them all out. I listed five cracks in this character that they're just fucking it up for me to enjoy a good villain character. And all in all, Jinx is another attempt at the misunderstood villain trope, which from what I've seen by way of practice is starting to get on my goddamn nerves. Specifically, Alice from Batwoman. Holy fucking moly! Does that character get fucking out of hand on that sympathy train? Holy Jesus! Sympathy is out the goddamn window. I don't give a fuck what she's been through. That bitch needs to be tapped. She needs to fucking go. But you could argue the same for Jinx because it's hard to sympathize when they try so pathetically half-assed way to justify. Like, look, she's been traumatized. Well, how she's been traumatized? Well, her sister, said some mean things to her, as a sibling does in general. So that alone cannot make somebody crazy. I admit that what Vi did was fucking stupid, but on Powder's perspective, you can't be that fucking sensitive and that fucking weak and vulnerable that you have a mental breakdown because your sister said some mean things and just walked away. And I'm gonna explain that walking away scene because it is not what everybody says it is. It is not what everybody says it is. It is wrong. It is wrong as all fucking get out, and everybody is wrong when they say Vi abandoned Jinx. She fucking did it. I'm gonna get to that, I need to clear my throat. I need to finish that. But she's a misunderstood villain trope. I am terribly sorry. Everybody likes Arcane. Everybody thinks it's a great show. I like Arcane. I think the show is great, and I'm definitely gonna watch season 2 because the show is watchable. The show is tolerable. It is pure great entertainment. Basically, the problem I have with Jinx is the exact similar, is more or less the similar problem that everybody had with Ahsoka Tano when she was in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is still a good show, but oh boy, did they hate the shit out of Ahsoka Tano when she first showed up. More or less the same thing. It doesn't mean that the show is bad. It just means that not everybody's gonna like every goddamn thing. All right. So I'm sorry, but it's true that she's part of the misunderstood villain trope. Doesn't really matter if people liked her or not. The fact remains, she is part of the misunderstood villain trope, and I think I might be one of. I haven't actually looked up a YouTube video that did this, but don't think I'm the only one who noticed this. I might be the only one who mentioned it, maybe, but I'm not the only one who noticed the fucking cracks all over this damn character. Holy Jesus! Spend 18 minutes on one slide. I'm sorry. Okay, now that I'm done with that god awful 18-minute warm up, I'm terribly sorry that I spent 18 minutes on one slide. I am so sorry for that. This is all rant purposes, so this is definitely gonna be long. But I had to put my thoughts out into this, and I have to go in depth onto my thoughts. So shoot me in the leg. But here's number one, facing on my listed issues. Number one, mental health awareness gone horribly fucking wrong. It is essential to show, don't tell. This is basically what is written here is basically an argument that I had with another some random YouTube viewer that I got into a fight with on the EFAB 170 comment section. I got into a fight with her because I'm basically being rational. I'm being logical with my view on what happened with this character, and she basically came back and started pushing. It's all in the feelings. It's all in feeling things, man. You gotta feel the things for these characters. If you don't feel the things, then everything that you said and every single goddamn point that you pointed out just doesn't matter. She was basically that type of person because she didn't have any legitimate counter arguments. It was just nothing but pushback and double down instead of explaining where the wrong was. She didn't actually do that. She didn't actually participate in the actual real discussion. She just came back and pushed back and kept doubling back on the feelings and the emotion of the situation. And my response to that whole goofy ass fiasco, basically I ended up leaving because I came fully aware that I'm arguing with somebody who's justifying feelings over logic, and anytime you enter a conversation with somebody who's like that, you are hopelessly at loss. You might as well just give up because you're never gonna get through to them because they don't see logic. They see logic as evil. They see logic as the enemy. They see logic as a waste of fucking time. So God forbid if you lose logic at any fucking moment of your fucking explanation. The minute you start using logic and trying to justify on logic and rather than just being emotional and being teary-eyed about it, they ain't gonna hear a goddamn thing that you say, and you are basically arguing with a fucking monkey at this point. A screaming monkey with shit in his hand ready to fling. That's what it's like arguing in that comment section, and I just basically just gave up because she wasn't thoroughly pointing out any real flaws that I had in my argument. She didn't actually intellectually point it out, which is what I was hopefully looking for. I said I got Fifi's logic is bad, and it's just awful. Doubling down on that, I basically pointed out that the fact is human beings do have emotions. So you can't do one over the other and vice versa. Human beings have emotion. That is a goddamn fact. It is on our person. We have those. We just have to control them. That is literally the only thing about them. You have to control your emotions. You have to rationalize them. You can't just go caution to the fucking wind because human beings have emotion. Therefore, fuck all everything else, and that's not how people work, and that's bullshit for anybody who thinks otherwise. Vice versa, you can't remove people's humanity, basically their emotions. You can't fucking remove their humanity, and that's the other side of it. Altogether, I mention this in the next slide. I'll be sure to read it. It's human beings. It can be summed up into four distinct categories on our daily functions. We always bounce on these four things, which is intellectual, social, emotional, and sexual. Yes, human beings are sexual creatures. Who'd have thought? Wow, I wonder. Wonder if that's by God's design. Wonder. It's basically those four top categories, and every single little tidbit, like almost 1,000 subcategories of human functionality and human nature, sins included, solely relies on those four categories. That's how I would sum up human beings in a nutshell. Those four categories. So you are an idiot for saying that human beings are emotional, therefore logic doesn't count. It's like you're a fucking idiot. Yes, we're not Vulcans, but we still have an intellectual prowess. For Christ's sake, my number one argument for that is that we build a goddamn cell phone and a fucking computer, and they do the things that they do, and we made these things out of freaking metal and electricity. Those two damn things alone, because all of electronic devices have copper circuits running through them, and that's a conductor of electricity. So that's how both of our technology works. Copper circuits, copper or metal in general, and we have electricity flowing through it. We did all of these electronic devices things with those two primary components. And people are telling me that no, it's about the Fifi. It's like you're fucking stupid. You're a damn idiot. Stop saying Fifi's over logic. We're just as logical as we are. We can be just as intellectual as we are emotional. Granted, we're mostly emotional over logical, but we still have access to it. Don't act like we don't. Like what? Phones came out of our asses? No, we intellectually made these damn things. We intellectually figured out our fucking solar system without actually entering into space. We studied far off areas like where Sirius B was and whatnot without actually using a goddamn telescope. We did so many things intellectually without our emotional input. So anybody saying that we're emotional over logic is like just absolute dipshit, and vice versa. You're an idiot if you say we don't have emotions. We fucking do. We use them all the damn time. It's dumb. So that's my whole take on that fucking comment section debacle with that one person. I don't care if human beings do have emotion. That doesn't give us a free pass to fuck all on everything else. It just doesn't. Okay, so the second part of this I gotta delete a section. I'll be sure to delete it because that shouldn't be because this is all a response, and I'm using my responses to this person as footnotes. I'm re-explaining that. That's what I'm doing. I'll explain that as many times as needed because that's exactly what I'm doing. Abandonment issues, basically what Powder supposedly went to that makes her, so crazy, so emotionally unstable. I wouldn't call that unstable. She is fucking insane. She is fucking crazy. Episode 3 when it did a nice damn job explaining that. Because that abandonment issues creates more or less attachments and social withdrawal, if anything. Like so people can be clingy because of abandonment issues. Yeah, that's pretty goddamn accurate, and that argument makes fucking sense. You wouldn't want someone to leave you, so you get clingy. That makes sense. Social withdrawal. Well, that's kind of where I'm at. It's not necessarily for abandonment issues. It's more or less trust issues, but it's more or less the same thing. Why invest in anybody if all they're gonna do is walk out on you at the end of the day, or in my case, stab you in the back? Why invest? So social withdrawal sounds like the more or less understandable situation for Powder if everything that's wrong with her is based on her abandonment issues. Oh boy, will I break that down. Based on the abandonment issues. Well, if I mean, if she was, that's not what the writers did. I stuttered because I got lost in my words. That's not what the writers wanted. They wanted Jinx to be, have socially withdrawn, like she's not very social, or she's not into the whole companionship gig. She's very antagonistic, like she is like she was in the games, more or less. So her abandonment issues actually explains her antagonism. So that's something to work with there. And once again, if that's how she is in the games, then you didn't really need to fucking fix anything. Even if you did wanted to show her being supposedly abandoned by Vi, you can still do that, but you don't need the whole sympathy shit to go along with that. You can still do that without the sympathy, because all we need to know is that because of what happened with Vi and Jinx when they were young. I think they were preteens. I think Powder was 12, and I think Vi is either 13 or 14. I have the slightest fucking clue. They didn't specify the age, and that's not really important. If all it is the relationship between Vi and Jinx that makes her who she is in episode 4 and afterwards, then that's fine. But you don't have to force me to feel sympathy for her. I just need to understand why she is the way she is, and just go from there. Keep your fucking sympathy out of it, please. Don't force me to feel things, because I really do get tired of that. Because when if I can see it, then I'm more or less annoyed, because they did not stop doing this. They kept forcing you to feel sympathy throughout the whole thing. So abandonment issues create social withdrawal and attachment issues. Make a comparison of Futaba Sakura from Persona 5. She was more or less abandoned by her mom committing suicide by the whole metaverse. Is it called the metaverse in Persona 5? I think it is. Oh my god. Oh no. Ugh. Because that's what robot Zuckerberg is doing. But yeah, I believe by way of the metaverse, her mother committed suicide. She felt abandoned, and a whole bunch of guys in suits came and berated a child because very cartoonish. But that's what happened, and she became a shut-in, social withdrawal. That's how it goes for Futaba Sakura. It's not necessarily the same thing, but it's a similar situation and a similar outcome. So it makes no sense for. Futaba's not crazy. She's socially awkward. That's what happens for social withdrawn people. But she's not crazy. And they're trying to, and they had Jinx be crazy instead of her just being socially antagonistic or socially damaged. She should be socially damaged. They do emotional damage, yes, but I see a lot of craziness. I get Harley Quinn vibes from Jinx, and anybody who tries to argue otherwise, I consider them dumb. If you think Jinx and Harley Quinn are not on the same platform, I think you're dumb. I think you're very stupid. I think you don't know what you're talking about if you actually think that. Jinx and Harley Quinn are on the same platform. They're literally the same play. They're play on the exact same thing. Like you can see the image with the whole scribbles and drawings and whatnot. She actually does draw these things on her bombs. She's literally similar to Harley Quinn. Yeah, so the writers didn't show, don't tell, which is the problem with most writing names, right? A lot of writers in good old Hollywood decide to not show, don't tell. They fail to do it, and they expect us to just go with it, just roll with it, just mindlessly enjoy things, and mindlessly view and consume product. They didn't get hyped for next product. They expect you to do that, and people resist. They shake their head and say, no, that's bullshit. That's not how. That's not how that works. That's not how this works. That's not how that works. So, you know, they intellectually, rationally point out all these fucking flaws, and Hollywood basically wants us to shut the fuck up and come and consume product. They didn't get ready for the next product. They just want us to do that. And I feel like the fans are doing that with Jinx. I don't know if the writers are doing that because I haven't seen or heard anything from the writers or anything from my source of news on pop culture today, pop culture and all the fiasco that's going on. Right? So yeah, so this is another reply I did to the in the comment section. So she basically believes that just because we have emotion that automatically justify any potential insane things that we do, anything that makes legitimately no fucking sense or is basically more or less crazy, like that actually makes no goddamn sense, it's justified because, hey, you know, fifis. Bullshit. As I explained earlier, we still have our intellectual capacity. We can still rationalize our fucking emotions, that we can make sense of our goddamn actions. So yes, you can hold somebody accountable for them doing something crazy, when they do it. Just because you have emotions don't mean shit. You still did the wrong thing. And that's what this person was trying to say. She was basically trying to say that you know, man, maybe I should have shown her replies on this, but I didn't do that. I probably should have done that, but I didn't do it. But I'm basically replying saying that you think people are mentally unstable, potentially mentally unstable right off the bat, and the Joker's path to insanity in The Killing Joke works the best, because it was a series of unfortunate events that befell on a Joker, which I believe his name is Jack. I think that's the name. Jack. I forgot his last name. I think it starts with an R, or maybe that's the other guy. Maybe that's the creeper. But his name was Jack, and he basically went through all these series of unfortunate events, slowly taking him to the breaking point, without any sign of halting. So when he does break in the Killing Joke, and he starts to do the maniacal laugh, and you know, grab his face and does just, you know, the Joker grin. His crack insanity works and makes fucking sense, because you know that he's giving in to the insane events that have befell upon him. But the whole concept of his character is that, one, he's a showboat, and how it's presented in The Dark Knight is that a different film that the Joker was in, not The Killing Joke, but The Dark Knight. They said that the Joker wants everyone to understand. He wants to prove that everybody is just as crazy as he is, but that was severely disproven, because by way of our emotional, intellectual, and social functionality, we can choose not to. We have the choice not to. We have the choice to use our intelligence and our social interactions and our emotional functions to not be insane. And that was proven at The Dark Knight, when in the scene where on the boat, where both parties decided not to. Like, the criminal dude, he threw that out there because he didn't want to play Joker's game, and it was a great decision. And the other guys, they made the choice not to because they knew it was wrong, and it was a very good human scene. And Joker's sitting there, is like, he didn't see the boom. It's like, fuck, I guess you gotta do it yourself. And Batman says to him, was like, what? You thought everybody was just as fucking crazy like you? No, that's not always true. Some people are actually very resilient to breaking their insanity breaking. And the Dark Knight film proved that everyone isn't like the Joker. I had to put that in all caps because she was trying to fucking say that everybody is, and it was pissing me off, because rather than point out my flaws in my argument, she just kept on pushing back on Fifi's. I'm sorry I can't show this, but that's what she was doing, and it pissed me right the fuck off, because rather than you point out my flaws in what I'm saying, my errors and anything that I'm saying, actually having a fucking debate with me, you're just preaching about your damn feelings, and I basically had to fucking give up, because I was tired of it. Like, I'm making sense here. Can you point out any flaws that I made? She never fucking did. Because as soon as I start reading, I just say very first fucking sentence that I see from this person's replies is, well, emotions. Therefore, that's not the issue. It's not the issue. Human emotions is not the fucking problem. We have them. Characters are written with them. That's actually a good thing because you don't want to write a character to be a robot. But that's not the problem with Jinx. The problem with Jinx is at the title of the video is forced fucking sympathy. That's the problem. It's not the problem with emotions in general. It's just fucking they're forcing you to feel emotions for this character when it's not necessary. Is my whole fucking point and my whole fucking argument. And she never broke it down. She just said just feelings and emotions, and feelings just justifies the whole sympathy route. And I'm saying no, that's wrong because there's some flaws in that. There's a flaws in the way of the execution. So no, human emotions is not pure justification to fucking do shit like this or make a forced sympathetic villain. And we get sick of it. And don't pull that shit with fucking Alice for that god awful Batwoman TV show that I do not watch. I watched Heel versus Babyface review that crap. I ain't watching that show. That show was absolute fucking garbage. So yeah, so I basically told this person she can like the show all she wants. That's fine. That's all fine and fucking dandy. If I don't like the show, I don't like the show. If you like the show, then you like the show. Whatever. But my whole point in why I'm making the video on this is that I just need people not to be so gullible when writers pull this shit. And because I didn't hear any real well established criticism, because maybe they thought that it wasn't necessary, but necessary to do, or maybe they actually don't give a shit about Jinx. Maybe all the YouTubers that I watch don't give a flying rat's ass about this bitch. Maybe they don't. Maybe they like Vi and want to focus more on Vi's interaction, or Caitlyn, or Victor and his partner. Maybe they want to focus more on those guys. I actually like to focus on the whole the round table shtick. The council. I like to focus on the council because what was going on there was just a whole lot of stuff. Everything was happening at once, and it was great. I was thoroughly entertained on that. And needless to say, they did have a person of color in there. Not that mattered. I never really cared for it, but I do like to see the stuff. It's okay to have this stuff, but I liked her. I liked her relationship with her mom. I like the fact that her mom is a big, gigantic Goliath. A Goliath of a female. She's a gladiator style female, and she is fucking humongous. I don't hate it at all. I don't. I liked it, and I think it's entertaining. And I think more or less most YouTubers that I view are gonna probably focus mostly on that aspect if they actually ever do a well constructed review on why the show's great and why Jinx is actual crap. But I'm being the one to saying that I want people to not be gullible when writers pull this crap. Just because you have emotions does not mean you should fall for every single sympathy tactic that you see. Does it make sense? Does it work? Do you actually feel the emotional rationality in the characters? Because if you just, I mean, people are gonna say that they do. If they do, you have to thoroughly explain it. If you can't explain it, and all you're gonna do and say is fee-fees over logic, then that character is not a well-written character. That character is flawed as fuck. Flawed as all get out when it comes to the writing. Forced sympathy villains are annoying as fuck, get out, as shit, as hell, as crap. It is infuriating, and it ruins the show. All the writers had to do was just plain and simple. Just make a mad chick villain. Stop fucking trying to make me feel for her. Because you failed miserably. Only well-written villains, like say Zuko and Azula. I know that's been beat to death all over YouTube. I've seen it. I've seen a whole bunch of videos analyzing the concept of Zuko and Azula and why they were so just brilliant characters. Regardless, So yeah, they they were well written, but it's not because the show forced you to sympathize with them. Zuko was a villain from the start, and nobody sympathized with that guy. Not really. They understand his situation. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's empath. I think it's empathize.
I don't really know the pure definition of sympathy and empathy. Sympathy versus empathy. I gotta actually say. Yeah, sympathy versus empathy? Sympathy involves understanding from your own perspectives. Empathy involves putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Yeah, okay, so Zuko gets away by empathy, by way of empathy. It's not from our. Well, I sympathize with Zuko because I understand his position, but most people empathize with him. But it wasn't forced. It was built up. It was slowly invading. He was of a great and a very fantastic antagonist in season one of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he was a fantastic, well-written character in season two. And Azula became the well-written villain. But the main reason why Azula and Zuko are so fantastic, well-written is because they're children who are products of war and literal child abuse. Like their father Ozai is a piece of fucking shit. He is a piece of shit douche. And they their whole upbringing is based on that. Zuko, being abused by his father and his sister, more or less, and Azula being forcefully constructed, manipulated, and fed by her father. It works better for Azula because you can still hold her accountable for her actions. You can still see that she's wrong. You can see that she's flawed. You can see that she is a villain. But at the same time, you can empathize with Azula's situation because, well, I mean, the only reason why she's like that is because her father fucking put her there. He inflated her ego. She was a firebending prodigy. He basically turned her into a monster because he wanted her to be the greatest one of the great firebenders in the nation to help him do Ozai's bidding, power consumption and whatnot. And Azula was and grew up in that. He got rid of her mom, which would have been a hard competition. But even with Azula's mom around, Azula's mother could not get to her, which is the whole point whole core establishment of Azula's character. Azula's character revolved around her issues with her mom. The writers never did get a good chance to fully flesh that out, and the Search did an awful job at fleshing that out. They did horrible. They did awful. They fucked over Azula royally. Now again, not everybody wants to sympathize. Not someone to sympathize with Azula, but she is a villain. She did try to kill her sibling. I'm not justifying. I'm saying I get it. I can understand. I can understand that. Zuko's my favorite, but Azula is my all-time favorite female villain because she did a well fucking good job entertaining me at her being a villain. She was cunning, she was manipulative, she was great, she was fantastic, and she was well written. Jinx does not have any of those qualities on her because every goddamn time when I start an episode or when I see her on screen, I get the force sympathy stick. I see the hallucinations and I get so annoyed. I'm like, can each thing just get the fuck out of here? I'm trying to focus on Jinx and Vi's relationship. I just want to see them interact. I want to see Vi realize that Jinx is too far gone thanks to Silco. Get rid of those goddamn fucking hallucinations. They're ruining me enjoying the story between these two girls. That's the whole like I said earlier, that's the whole problem. Forced sympathy, where it's not fucking needed. Definitely was not needed. I can still empathize with Jinx when it comes to her relationship with her sister when they reunite. I can still do that. I don't need those goddamn hallucinations in there reminding me that, remember, Jinx has mental issues. I don't give a fuck. She doesn't need to have mental issues, damn it. She didn't fucking have them originally. Don't put them on the character. She didn't need them before. She would have been just fine without them. Wasn't necessary. Doesn't need it. Get them the fuck out of here. Just get them the fuck out of here. Get sober. Make Jinx sober. Stop get rid of her pink elephants. Fuck them. Hate them. Hate it. I really do. I really do hate those hallucinations. Every damn time I see them, I really hate them. Really, really hate them. Only well-written villains can make you feel for them. Truly.
And not all well-written villains are gonna make you feel sympathy for them. But that's how it's done. You can't just write a shit villain or have a villain that a character that would have made a good villain, force your 2 cents sympathy on it, and then expect the exact same outcome. I hate Jinx in Arcane. I hate her because of this forced crap. It's bullshit.
Okay, so had to go out and to take care of something. So basically continuing where I left off after well, yeah, about a while afterward. But we're still in number one, mental health awareness going wrong. This is another one of my reply comments that I'm using as a footnote, which it was basically asking, why does Jinx have paranoia of abandonment? Like, why did she have that mental issue? When was this ever hinted at before episode 3? Like, their best chance of hinting at this would have been in episode 1, where Vanders found them. That they could tell that they could have had Jinx clinging on, survive for like, I don't know, dear life or whatever, and showing her that she is clinging at a young age, and God knows what she saw happen to her birth parents, which just not that it needs to be. But if they're gonna do this the way they did when she was locked in her room, and then that all that craziness just started coming out of nowhere. I feel like that should have been a hint to that. And you can't just drop it out of nowhere and say, "Oh, yep, this is what it is." It's like, no, I want an explanation. I want to know why she's like this. I want to know why she behaving like this, because I know I couldn't behave like that when I was a kid, especially if I'm told to wait in my room, which is basically what she was told to do. So I wanted to ask the person why she has this paranoia of abandonment, and why this abandonment from her sister make her insane. Like, why does she have the paranoia in the first place? And then why does abandonment from her sister, which Vi did not abandon? I actually watched the episode again, and Jinx did see Vanders, but not in a manner that would have better executed the scene, because she didn't see Vanders until Vi pointed out, asking, "Did you do this?" That's when Jinx finally noticed, or Powder noticed Vanders on the floor. That's when she noticed. She didn't notice when she came out from behind the building and noticed Vi standing there. She didn't see a body, or the other body on the floor while looking at Vi, which I find to be absolutely fucking stupid, and actually freaking just extremely questionable as all get out. That interaction really did not make any sense at all, and I'm sticking to that, because it just felt so out of place and unnatural. And I still hold Vi accountable for thinking to blame her sister, taking her frustrations out on her, like she doesn't share the same frustrations. Like, how do you think she feels knowing that she killed her? It would be a sole reason that everybody suffered the way they did in the aftermath. How do you think she feels? Fucking Christ, Vi is not selfish. She shouldn't have been acting that way. No, she really shouldn't. I can't justify it. Yeah, so I guess you can make the argument. God damn it, sorry. You can make the argument that it is Vi's flaw that she took everything out on her sister, but I still just can't justify it. I find it stupid. If anything, Vi's flaw should have been flaw should have been failing at protecting her friends, protecting Powder, because she's the one who lashed out on her, and living up to Vander's expectations. And like, he died telling Vi to protect Powder. The first thing she fucking does when she sees her is take shit out on her. Fucking believable. It really does not make any sense. I'm not justifying it. I don't care if she has emotions. I know she fucking does. We all fucking do. But nobody justifies me when it justifies anybody with anger issues when they get hot and pissed off. Nobody justifies them. So I'm not justifying Vi. I'm not justifying anybody's overly emotional reaction when you can be rational.
about it. You have the option to be rational. If you fucking choose not to, I'm not saying, oh, that's okay. There. I'm not treating you like a child and like a baby. I'm treating you like a fucking adult and holding you accountable for not being rational when you have the option to be rational. You choose not to, I'm holding you accountable. You do choose to be rational, then good, we could work it out. But I'm treating you like a fucking adult. I'm not treating you like a goddamn child and giving you a free pass because you have emotions in general. Therefore, I'm not doing that. Nobody does it with me. I'm not doing it with anybody else. So I asked why she has the abandonment and why does she has insane, and I basically explained that that's not how people's sanity works. I explained with the Joker that that's a good explanation on how sanity works. You put somebody into the breaking point, and he showed that somebody giving in to insanity because of that breaking point. They even did the same for Harley. Well, so Harley Quinn is through Stockholm syndrome. It's through infatuation over the Joker. But it's still a good explanation of how sanity works. I mean, she fell in love with a madman. That's a nice little good explanation of how somebody could become crazy over time too. So, but that doesn't work for Jinx because I don't see the proper explanation of why she is crazy. And then they tried to do that, but they didn't do it. They tried to justify it. They tried to explain it, but they did a piss poor job at doing it. Because I'm asking these questions. Why does she have the extreme paranoia? Because they didn't explain it. They wanted to explain. They wanted you to explain Jinx's backstory so you can feel sorry for her instead of well, she would have been a good villain regardless if you had the sympathy or not. But they didn't. They wanted you to feel sympathy for her, but they failed to properly explain why you should. Because I fucking don't. I mean, if nobody feels sorry for Alice from Batwoman, then I see no good reason to feel anything for Jinx. They're literally on the exact same boat. You can't give the Jinx a free pass because feelings. You can't fucking do that. I am against that so fucking hard. I'm against justifying anybody's decision making, poor decision making, because they have emotions. I can get it, I can understand it, but I'm not giving you a free pass. I'm still holding you accountable. It's the same thing we all go through in real life. I don't see why we should do it just because she's a character. So I explained that that's not how sanity works. I said that Jinx basically makes no sense because I can't find the through line of how she operates as a human being, because it makes no sense. I can ask several different questions and not get those answers for those questions, and then they say, well, there's your problem with why she's flawed. If you can't answer these basic questions, one of them would be why she has extreme paranoia. They don't have an answer for that. So how can I understand her if I don't know these answers to these questions? Like, these things should have been explained. Because you want to do mental health awareness, you gotta explain the shit. You can't just say random. Mental health is just random. It can just happen at any given moment. I call that bullshit. I think as a basic psychologist should call that bullshit. And there was a video that this person responded with that it basically explained how this works. I have not watched that video because I was going to watch it, but I decided not to because the person who presented the video did not present herself out with any decent prediction. She didn't even explain what the video was gonna be about, which probably would have prompted me even more to watch it. I was gonna watch it. I chose not to watch it, and that's probably a bad on my part because now that makes me come off as biased. I probably should have watched it. That does make me look bad that I didn't watch it, but I don't. If it's not gonna explain. If you need an external video like a psychiatrist to explain something that the story should have explained, which again begs the question of the writers, maybe they shouldn't have done this at all because they don't seem to understand how this stuff fucking works, and they needed a random psychologist to make a video on it that justifies and explains this probably better. For all I know, she probably actually did a good job. Maybe I actually should watch the video, but I didn't, and I really wanted to hurry up and try and make a video on this. So So this basic comment basically just doubles down on my points because they weren't challenged. My points weren't challenged. They still stand because they weren't challenged and they weren't addressed. Hence why I didn't watch the video. This person basically was not not really into properly breaking down any points that I made. She just doubled down with the fact that human beings have emotion, which is not the fucking problem. The problem is that the sympathy is being forced, and I explained why it's forced, and she has to explain why. Dorley has to explain beat per beat of every point that I make why it's not that way and why it's this way. You have to actually thoroughly explain. You can't just sit there and say that the character has emotions, therefore you have to sympathize with the character because we all have emotions. And I say that's bullshit, and because nobody fucking does that in the real world. Nobody fucking does that in the real world. We don't. We just don't. So don't make that your fucking argument because the real world doesn't work that way. I'm not doing it for a fucking character. Not sorry. And so I'm basically doubled down that I basically doubled down that I never said that just because Jinx is a marksman that automatically makes her perfect. I never said that at all in any of my points that I make. She responded saying that I did say that. That was one of her starting things, like, oh, she's a marksman, so it automatically makes her perfect. And I said nothing of that, proving that she didn't actually read what I'm saying. I didn't say shit about her being perfect. I said she isn't useless. She's not a dead weight because she can fucking do something. That's what I said, and that's the problem with her being a marksman. If Powder is supposed to be useless and she's supposed to be a dead weight, don't fucking make her a marksman, because now I'm gonna ask her, well, wait a minute, marksmen aren't useless. They're very useful. They're very, very useful. That's like saying in the TV show Codename Kids Next Door, number 4, he's useless because he's a dumbass. Well, he's actually useful because he's a combat specialist. He's pro physical of the group. He's the one that the team can rely on to be pro physical and get the job done in a physical manner. So he's not useless. Nobody says he's useless. They just know that he's an idiot, and that's where they call him out on. They know that he number 4 is just not the brightest, and it's just on the daily to deal with it. But no one says he's useless. She's in the same fucking boat. I think how did those characters went? Number 3 is supposed to be the machine, but she's like the mech operator or whatever. She's supposed to be I forgot what her role was. On the number 5 is command, and number 1 is the leader. Number 2 is the pilot, but he's also an engineer. He engineers everything, and so obviously he's not useless, but he can fight, but he's not really like good at it like number 5 and number one are. But that doesn't mean he's useless. He has value to the team. He can build stuff. He pilots them everywhere. That's fucking useful. Number 3 isn't useless because she can fight but only under certain circumstances. She's actually very fucking good. I mean, she's a fucking operative in the show, but she's very good at defending herself when she needs to. So you can't call her useless because she's emotional and flighty and very hyper feminine and whatnot. You can't call her useless. She's proven several different times that she isn't. So what the fuck? Why is Jinx useless when she's got those marksman skills? It's a stupid thing that they did to make her a marksman, and then try to say, she's the weak one of the team. It's like, why? She's a marksman. You give her a fucking slingshot, for God's sakes. She ain't useless. She can't be useless as a marksman. I keep repeating that because of the problem with that is. I'm sorry if I sound like a fucking broken record, but I just keep repeating it because I can't. And just doubling down on that fact. She's a marksman. She's not useless. I'm just gonna get old very fast because this is all together just gonna come together as a fucking rant. It's a shit when it comes. So she has value to her friends when it comes to scavenging, but yet everyone treats her like she's just in a way and she's fucking useless. She's a goddamn marksman. It's fucking stupid. and she's fucking 12. I believe she should be 12. She comes off as 12. They have to be teens. For all I fucking know, it could be wrong, and Powder was actually 8. For all I fucking know, I don't actually know the proper ages of the character. I could actually probably just look at it just so I know. Because they never specified. Not that they needed to, but I should know while I'm doing this little rant that I'm doing. So I'm just gonna look that up. Arcane Powder. Yeah, what the fuck was her goddamn age? Yeah, come on now. She's fucking 11, dude. Vi was 15, but she didn't act 15. Echo was okay. Echo definitely did not look like he was 13. That boy definitely looked like that, and his ass was 9 years old in the post time skip. So that's some bullshit. I'm calling out bullshit on that one. 20. She's 8, right on the dot. Fucking 18. Oh, good lord. Yeah. So yeah, Jinx is 11 years old. So I'm pretty close. They treat her, but she's 6 years old. But excuse me, 12, 11. I'm sorry. It says I wrote 6. I said that that's stupid. They treat her, and I said she's like fucking 12 because I forgot what the response to that was, because I had to respond to it and respond to everything that she said in parts and bits. Should probably just go read those so I can better present the argument just a little bit better. Okay. Okay, so she says that she has paranoia and abandonment issues because of her sister. I call bull fucking shit, because that's not, just because Vi exists does not make her paranoia. And I'm talking about before episode 3. Like, I'm talking on when Vanders found him on the bridge. Because that's how mental health works. You're more or less born with it. It's not something you can force onto somebody at the snap of a finger. That's something that has to be, you have to be traumatized. And once again, I'm just gonna double down on this fact that what happened, the trauma should not have been Vi walking away. The trauma should have been Powder discovering what she did with her bombs, and that harsh reality is what should have broke her mind. But that's not gonna make her crazy. That's gonna make her, that's gonna make her just mostly, more or less, socially dysfunctional or emotionally dysfunctional, if anything. But they were going for full on crazy. In episode 3, when she was told to wait in her fucking room, she was acting crazy. She did more than throw a tantrum. I threw tantrums when I was a kid. Now no full goddamn well I can't do the shit that she was doing. I just know because my parents would not let me. Like, being angry is one thing. That's understandable. That's fine. You are gonna throw fits at certain points as a kid. Before you turn 13 and you finally start acting like a goddamn preteen, and you stop doing that shit. I mean, yeah, you still throw fits and you still tantrums, but it's not gonna be the same as an 8-year-old. You're not gonna stomp your feet and whatnot, and do a whole lot of screaming and hollering. More or less gonna induce a lot of thrashing. Since Powder is 11 years old in that episode, her trying to rip her fucking face off and just screaming at nothing does not come off as a tantrum to me. I should know. I threw tantrums. I could not do that because my parents will fucking beat my ass if I ever did that shit. They will. Because I don't care if you're fucking mad. You act like you have some goddamn fucking sense. You ain't crazy. No, my parents did not raise a crazy child, so that's definitely. They're not gonna let me go that route. But her parents weren't around, but still, don't just put that there and say, nope, see, she's crazy. It's like, why is she trying to rip her face off? I know that she's upset. I know that she's angry and she's supposed to be throwing a tantrum. Her throwing her stuff around is actually understandable and relatable. But trying to rip your face off, girl, get a grip. Focus that anger a little bit better, because now you're just acting crazy. Hell, if anything, just take your anger out on the fucking door, if anything, because you're trying to get out. You're trying to, I don't know, man. That scene did not work for me, and that's where I knew that there was going to be issues, because it felt left field for me watching Powder do that to herself, because she was told to wait. Because she was told to wait in her room for her squad to come back, and that makes her, that can make her angry because she's feeling left out. Yeah, okay, all right, that's cool. But to rip your face off on that, just claw away at your face and just scream maniacally. I think you need to get your shit together. I think a parent needs to step through that door and get a belt out. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. I do not justify that level of reaction whatsoever. So when I see it on a TV show, I say, calm your ass the fuck down. It is not that fucking big a deal. For all you know, your friends could come back with Vanders all in tow, all fine and dandy. For all you fucking know, it's not like Powder had any freaking insight that Silico was going to try and kill them all in that building. She had zero insight. Zero. Whatsoever. It's not like Echo told Powder this, and then Powder tried to tell Vi this, and Vi made the decision to keep Powder out of it because she being the older sibling, because she wanted to keep her out of this situation. She didn't want, obviously you don't want your younger sibling to die along with you, but that would be the tension and the dynamic. I still don't justify that the way that she reacted, but I justify the temper tantrums, yes, but the maniacal screaming and trying to rip her face off, I do not justify. Get your shit together. Holy fuck. Yeah, so they never should have gave her a marksman skill, and they gave her. I didn't mention this, but they gave her other skills that were not established along with that. I didn't point them out in any of my slides, so I'll just do them here. The other skills that they gave her. Jinx is a trickster. She sets up traps very effectively. She can set traps for fucking humans. You have any fucking idea how difficult that is to do? Especially militant people. She could set traps for them. She could set traps for fucking anybody. She is a wild card, and a damn good one at that. I think I would argue that Jinx's intelligence when she turns 18, after the time skip, her intelligence is pretty fucking high, like almost high enough to actually compete with freaking Azula's intelligence. This is female villains comparison. That's the only one that I know. I am so sorry that character has been used to death for good, well-established villains. I know that you've been hearing her name a lot when it comes to this thing. I'm sorry for that, but that's the only comparison that I can make, especially when it comes to intellect. She can actually compete with Azula. Now Jinx is gonna lose, but she can actually compete. Like there can actually something be done. Like they can actually go at it. It's actually a fair game. I just know that Azula's gonna win. But that's how smart Jinx is. She can fucking make traps for people. So how useless is Jinx again as an 11-year-old kid? How useless is she? Being able to set traps and whatnot. I mean, Sokka was more or less not useless because he wasn't a bender, but he could still fight and he could still make plans. So I'm just gonna go back to that. How is Jinx useless if she's smart enough to set traps? Don't give me the bullshit that she just became a late bloomer genius over the time skip. I call bullshit on that, and because I didn't see it, I can't verify. So fuck that. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I won't believe it until it's thoroughly explained that she actually practiced on this shit. Cause I don't fucking know. Just like I don't fucking know if she saw their damn bodies. If I don't fucking know, I can't verify it. So don't say it. Don't do it at all. Where's your proof? I want proof. I want hardcore evidence that this is exactly how it is, and that is so. Even if the writers say it, I still want proof. So that's one of her skills. She's a trickster. She's you know, she's like almost like Naruto level trickster. She's unpredictable and she's pretty damn good at it. So her intellect is pretty damn high. But unlike Jinx, they thoroughly explained for Naruto that he is a trickster on the first fucking episode, and it paid off in several other episodes when it comes to shit Shadow Clone Jutsu. Like his fight with Kiba showed that his trickster skills basically earned him an upper hand on that fight. So they showed it and they developed it. They didn't do shit for that for Jinx, but all of a sudden in episode 4, here she is with all these crazy fighting skills that I have no idea where the fuck she got. That's her other skill, by the way. Vi was supposed to be the intuitive fighter. She's supposed to be the boxer. See, she was shown training with a machine that throws all like an 8 like fucking what 12-way punches, and Vi had to act and react to those punches being thrown at her and block and attack all at the same goddamn time. And she had to do this for years to finally get good to where she was, and she still wasn't good enough. And so she had to continue getting better, and she still had to get good after she turned 22. So like she had to get good for on the daily, which is basically how fighting works. But Vi is literally an intuitive fighter. Fighting comes natural to her because she worked at it. Where the fuck did Jinx get those damn skills from? Because they just showed her doing the same thing out of fucking nowhere, and she's on the same par as Vi. Since fucking when? Once again, I'm sorry, I thought Powder was useless as a child. Doesn't fucking seem that way to me. Where did she get all these damn skills from? And she had these skills from the get-go. Why the fuck is she useless? It just makes no damn sense. Like, where is she getting these skills from? Oh, I know where she's got these skills from. Because Arcane Jinx at age 18 after the post skip, Arcane Jinx is now Game Jinx. They became one and the same because video game Jinx is in a combat game, so it makes sense that she's also more or less an intuitive fighter, not like necessarily like Vi, but she has to learn how to fight. She has to learn that combat routine. She has to learn to get good because that's how the game works, and it makes sense. So it also makes sense that for 18 Arcane Powder, I think I said Vi. I think I said Vi in that last one. I think I'm getting my names mixed up. But Arcane Powder, or excuse me, Arcane Jinx is now also a video game Jinx because that makes sense because that's how game Jinx is. Well, there's the fucking problem with the Jinx in episode 4 and later. She had all these damn skills that makes her a fucking threat, arguably. Then I go back down to her being 11 years old, and it's like, where's the uselessness again? It looks like she's pretty goddamn fucking useful. Otherwise, where the hell did these skills come from? Because I just don't believe that she became so good to be a literal threat to anybody, including herself. She's arguably a threat to Vi, where Vi outclassed her in skill and just overall performance when they were kids. Now all of a sudden Jinx is on the same par as Vi. There was a scene when she was fighting the firelights. I think that's what they're called, the firelights. Jinx didn't look above her, but she dodged an attack coming from one of the firelights like a fucking pro. Where in the goddamn fucking hell did she get these skills from? I need to know. That kid just came straight out of nowhere. Oh, Vi just out of nowhere has all these crazy combat skills. Like, what the fuck you mean? Where did she get these skills from? Did she always have them? Show did not explain it. Where did she get these skills? I don't know. I want to know where she got these skills from. And everybody's going to say, obviously my fucking ass. The show did not tell me where she got these damn skills from. Obviously, she trained for it. Bullshit. I know Caitlyn trained to get where she's at. They showed that. I know Vi trained to get where she's at. They showed that. And Echo, well, I think that's what they didn't necessarily show where he got his skills from, but you can tell that he's been working on the whole hoverboard scene. That interaction with him and Jinx on the bridge is not a justification of an explanation of how Echo got his skills. But that's more or less an explanation because you don't even know whether he had those skills or not. In the priest time skip, you just knew that Echo was the messenger, hence the name Echo. But Jinx was presented as useless. So how the fuck is she such a good fucking fighter all of a sudden? It is bullshit. It doesn't work for me. It's poor execution and poor explanation. I am spending another 17 minutes on this, but I'm explaining everything that's wrong with this in detail. So we don't see Jinx seeing her dead friends, which makes her hallucinations very left field. They didn't show. They didn't show any of this, and yeah, and I explained that if that interaction between her and Vi made any sentiment of fucking sense at all, Jinx's sanity would be based on her denial that she killed her friends unintentionally. It wasn't her fault. We all know it wasn't. It was an unfortunate accident. But in Jinx's mind, she's not gonna accept that because, once again, why the fuck would Jinx ever want to attack her friends and kill them? It was completely unexplained. It was an accident. That could explain her craziness. Not some random ass paranoia of abandonment that is just unexplained because because Jinx has Fifi. I did it again. Jinx has Fifi for his sister. That's not a good explanation of going insane, which she's more or less is. What I said is denial that she killed her friends, because Vi is gonna tell her that if she just stayed home. I did an interaction on this. I wrote a short script interaction about how that scene should have played out, where Vi and Jinx and Powder had their interaction. Instead of playing out the way it did, I guess they wanted to show Vi's flaws, which I guess if that's the case, then that's wholeheartedly justified. I still want to defend it. I will say that she's stupid for it, but if it's her character flaw to do that, then I guess that's a free pass because you have to show these characters having flaws. You can't show them being perfect. But I think my character interaction is a little bit better. So that her insanity should be based on her denial of that she killed her friend. She refuses to accept the harsh reality that this is exactly what happened and it is her wrongdoing. That could thoroughly explain her insanity because she won't accept it. When you refuse to accept reality, you can go crazy with that. You can. It is very understandable. It's very exceptional. You can never argue with reality. You know why you can't argue with reality? Because you don't fucking dictate it. When reality throws some shit at you, you better get a glass and start making some fucking lemonade. That's all there is to it. You deal with it. You don't tell reality what to do. There's no fucking human being on this planet that can tell reality what to do, let alone this known damn universe as far as we're concerned. Who can tell the universe to tell reality how it is, how things are going to work, how things are going to explain? No. Reality drops left field shit on you, and you deal with it, and you get over it, because that's what everybody has to do in life. You got to get good, make that lemonade, and you deal with the pros and cons of reality. You just deal with it. So yeah, you can complain, you can get mad, you can do everything in the station one, but at the end of the day, you got to get used to it. So that's a good explanation of her insanity, because that's a rough patch. But yeah, it should be based on her denial that she killed her friends unintentionally, not some fucking abandonment issues. If child abandonment makes people crazy, then I should be considered a sociopath because I have abusive parents. A whole lot of kids in America had abusive parents. Lots of kids have abusive parents, and if they aren't sociopaths just because of that fact alone, I do not see how Vi's abandonment just justifies Jinx being crazy. I call bullshit. In fact, I smell bullshit. This is a good, strong, heaping pile of good old-fashioned Texas bullshit. I live in Texas, so that's why I'm making that comparison. it just doesn't work for me. I've had a rough parenthood. Me and my youngest brother and my oldest brother, we had some very rough parents. We had that are arguably abusive. We ain't crazy. We're dysfunctional, but we're not crazy. We have anything. We have emotional break. If we have emotional, we could have emotional breakdowns every now and then. But I don't. Jinx doesn't have that. She just acts like a wild card and acts crazy. That's not justified because of abandonment issues. If anything, get your sorry ass over it. I don't know what that noise was. I don't think that was me. So I don't know what that noise was. Okay, so I'm just saying it doesn't work that like that. It really doesn't. It's more to it's people's insanity is more defined by something trivial and common ground like parent abandonment or abusive parents, etc. It takes a lot more than that to drive someone crazy. You have to be it has to be very specific way of execution that can make someone crazy. So ever since Jinx's debut, she was never meant to be understood. You don't because she didn't need it. Like I said, she was enjoyable in the game, and she has been fine ever since. She was just fine. You didn't need to understand or sympathize. You didn't need to. If you did, that's great on you. That not everybody does. I don't. I did, and like I said, Jinx was not my favorite character. So it's okay that I don't sympathize with Jinx because you don't need to enjoy the character. I can still enjoy the character regardless. And I wanted to enjoy Jinx as a decent villain without somebody telling me to feel shit for. And for crying out loud, Jinx was so goddamn popular. She's a fucking Star Guardian for fuck all sake. She is a Star Guardian in League of Legends Arcane series, and I got a picture for it in like my later explanations. She's a Star fucking Guardian. She's pretty goddamn popular, but without the sympathy shit. So it's proof that's my proof that she didn't fucking need it. She didn't need to be sympathized with to be an enjoyable character, and because the writers think they had to do that and they fucked it up royal, that is my problem, and that is why I'm making this video, and I'm just going down through it. They should have just kept her exactly the way because Arcane Jinx and Game Jinx are the same thing. Because that execution played out anyway after episode 4 and later, they should have just kept her exactly the fucking way she was in the damn games. She didn't need a forced sympathy backstory. In other words, you don't need to force me to sympathize with her. You don't need me to force me to feel things for the character. You don't need to force me to do that. It's either I do or I fucking don't. And as it has it, Jinx can go fuck herself because of the way she's written. I don't give a fuck about anything that she's been through because been there, done that. Get over it. Shut up. Just get over it. Just grow the fuck up. Get over it. Your sister left you. Okay. She came back. Get over it. Patch things up. You just get over it. We all have been through rough stuff. Good lord. Sorry if I sound unsympathized humanity, but I've had a rough life. Everybody's had a rough life, and I just can't say I can't get with the way the execution of Jinx's sympathy story by the way of don't you feel things for Jinx? No, I don't. I don't feel things, and they keep on doing it and doing it and doing it every time those goddamn hallucinations show up. And remember, you gotta feel for Jinx because she's hallucinated, and I swear to God, get rid of these goddamn ghosts. They ruin it for me. I don't care. I don't sympathize with the character. Stop trying to force me to do it. I just don't. I don't care because you didn't do it proper. So I don't care. I'm sick of this character. She should have just been a villain from the get-go, and I swear that the writers did. Somebody did mention that the writer said that they did not want to. I need to find that so I can verify that. Let me see. I'm gonna try to. There's no paranoia of being left out and a fuck up. It's a social anxiety issue.
no, there's no. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was reading the comment when I opened my phone, so that was that.
I need to look that up before I start this because I'm already spending 23 minutes on this, so this video is gonna be long. I could try and short it, and I apologize if this be long, but I'm just discussing because I got no one. I don't have anybody to talk to about this. I have several Discord servers, but I have several Discord servers, but in the age of the fifis, I'm more inclined to just not talk to anybody other than guys. Everybody's gonna give me shit just for having an opinion that they don't disagree with, as if I give a fuck. That's why I'm making this video. You like it or not like it. Either way, I would appreciate if you just hear what I had to say and listen and tolerate my rant. And appreciate the rant if you agree or disagree. If you can understand it, I appreciate that. If you don't understand it, well, I'm sorry to hear that. We the audience would have enjoyed her character if she was just a decent villain. That is all the writers had to do. Yet, here we are. Another forced sympathetic villain and make it go away. Okay, so I looked everywhere on the internet. I went to a long Reddit post and I tried to find where I saw it. I think it was a comment mentioned somewhere, but I don't remember where I saw it. I just know that the writers really wanted to force Jinx to be fucking sympathetic instead of just leaving her exactly where she was. And I just got through reading that Reddit post, and the only reason everybody is like just sucking on this character's dick is because she represents mental health and issues and whatnot. It's like, man, I have mental issues and I'm fucking annoyed. I am peeved what they've done to this girl. I am peeved that they feel like they have to justify, make everything fucking sympathize just for you to enjoy someone's company. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. Yeah, some people understand what's wrong with that character. Only a few, but everybody else, mental health awareness, and it has gone awfully wrong because I do support mental health awareness, but man, with this character, that is not how you fucking do it. You don't let justify people for acting out, mental issues or not, and not hold them accountable so they can actually improve. Like you got to learn to work with the weakness and bring out their strength. You got to play on both. Everybody's got a lot of pros and cons. Some people have more pros than cons, and some people have more cons than pros. But that's the difficult part. You got to learn to work with both. You can't do that by every time somebody acts on their cons, you just give them a pat on the back and say, "Oh, there, booty boo." No, you can't fucking do that. From my personal life experiences, it has never happened with me, and I'm sticking to that when I'm criticizing this. Okay, so this is number 3. Goofy ass character interactions over pure real human interactions. Okay, this is one of my comments, a part of my comments that I had to remove because I wanted to organize this a little bit. I basically replied to this person that basically said that because Vi said the mean things that she said and that's why she has traumatized. Like, I don't think that makes anybody traumatized. I really just think that makes you hate your sibling, if anything. Trauma, no. Maybe a little trauma, but driving somebody crazy? Girl, you gotta do a better job. You gotta do a better fucking job than that to convince me. And there's a lot of things that was done to me that have been traumatizing. But I'm not crazy, man. I'm not crazy. I'm admitting I'm dysfunctional. I am not insane, and I don't fucking act like Jinx or Powder. I have dysfunctions. I am not legitimately die hard fucking insane, and I don't think anybody is who's been who's been through any form of abandonment issues of any kind. If sibling walked out on you, you're more. I think you're more or less stable because you just dealt with it. You found some grit. Look, Jinx's insanity, like I said, should have been based on her to accept and denying the reality that she killed Milo and then the big dude because I forgot his name. That should have been her breaking point, because that is something that you can't actually if you get over because the reality is just that harsh. That is understandable. That explains why Jinx is crazy. Because she murdered her friends, and that's a real tough pill to swallow. That's a pill that anybody could choke on. I can relate to that. Even though I have never been in that type of a scenario, but I can relate because that's actually horrific. That is what should have made Jinx sympathize. But because I have no fucking idea if Brother Jinx saw the dead bodies or not, I can't give her that card. So there's where the writers fucked up. That's why the way their execution is absolutely stupid, because they had an option to make it nice and reasonable, but they goofed it all up. And my little interactions are coming up. But I basically reply to this person that Vi shouldn't have said that to her. It was off and forced. Jinx is her sister. That isn't how you speak to someone who is your sibling when they accidentally create a catastrophic event, and she knew it was a fucking accident. And Vi is a piece of shit for thinking otherwise. That's my personal opinion. That's still my personal opinion on it. Vi she was horrified when she mourned Vander's death, but what the hell is this? Sorry, I was looking at my watch because it vibrated. Okay, so Vi should have been horrified. Vi should have felt mixed emotion and should have been in tears in that whole scene when she found out that Powder participated in this event. Okay, that's how Vi should have felt. That's how Vi should have handled that reaction, because how do you channel all that? That's a lot of mixed emotion. That's anger, sadness, guilt, regret. That's a lot of shit going off at once. So she should have just broke down in tears. I mean, shit, that's what Powder did when she realized what she did. She started to break down. But no, Vi decided to yell because, gotta take that anger out on somebody. Fuck you. Good Lord. In tears that scene. Okay, so I messed up. Yeah, so okay, so I made a typo here because I don't even originally know what I said, but that's telling us that's a good way to show us what should have happened, because that actually makes legitimate fucking sense that Vi would react in an emotional breakdown manner, because this is tragic. That's how people respond to tragedy. Not everybody is just a mindless, angry hothead. I mean, if Vi is supposed to be a passionate type person, a person with a heart of gold, but under all that grit, she never should have fucking acted that way towards her sister. I'm sorry, I just don't justify. Apparently, Vi is fucking stupid enough to believe that her own damn sister would intentions, like dead ass intentions, kill her childhood friends and Vanders. Bullshit. Fuck you, Vi, for actually thinking that that's exactly what Powder did. Gonna be asking her, oh, why would you do this, bitch? You know full damn well this is an accident. Crowder is crying her goddamn eyes out. It was a fucking accident, and you fucking knew it. I don't give a damn how old she is. 15 is not that young. Vi is not fucking retarded. And she loves her damn sister, so why the fuck did she act this way? I'm sorry, I'm just not justifying it. I won't justify it. It makes zero sense, period. And basically, after I mentioned all this, the commenter said that because Vi is a marksman, that automatically means that she is not able. regardless of fact that Powder, I said Vi. I meant Powder and Marks is a marksman. She should never be able to kill somebody. You know, the commenter had this whole, you know, pro hearts and fifis and pro life and everything. No violence, no saying mean things mentality to when I brought up the whole marksman thing. Once again, I never said that her being a marksman automatically makes her perfect. Yes, she could still be a klutz, but she's useful. I already thoroughly explained that. So my response to that was, the fuck. Since when does being a marksman means you can't kill people? But dude, I better call the fucking military and warn them that guns and marksmanship is useless if that's the case. Holy moly, we are not ready for World War III if we think marksmanship is. If marksmanship just means you just can't go around killing people, like what she brought up made zero fucking sense. I just didn't understand it, so I proceeded to make fun of her on that because her point made zero goddamn fucking sense, and she's continued to do this. Apparently, I didn't get any likes for anything that I said because, you know, I didn't have the proper fifis. I didn't present the natural emotions and whatnot. But yeah, this is just another footnote, but relying on my comments, you know, voice out my opinions on this. Okay, so my stupid ass went ahead and deleted the last recording, so I have to go ahead and say this all over again. So okay, so I'm just gonna run through it because I already did a little explanation. I'm gonna try my best to explain how I feel about it and why I'm doing it this way, but I'm gonna do this at the end. I'm gonna try my best to fix that horrific scene in episode 3, so don't expect any godly perfection. I am not a master writer. I'm a rookie writer at best, but I am creative enough to at least make it the attempt, which is what I'm trying to do right here. So, oh Jesus, man, I gotta do this again. So Vi, my bombs, they, you know, she's slowly walking up, seeing Vi standing over Vanders. That's what she was actually doing. But I'm gonna go ahead and have her laying Vanders on the floor. This is where Jinx does a loud gasp, and she just says, "Oh no," because hello, Powder has some feelings for Vanders, and of course she's gonna see her laying on the fucking floor when she's walking up to Vi. She wasn't even directly behind her; she was on the side. She could actually see her. So she says, "Oh no," and Vi just stands there emotionless. And Powder says, "Vi, where are the others? Where's everyone else? You know, her two friends. This wasn't supposed to happen. I thought my bombs would help." And this is where Vi cuts her off, and she says what, because now she knows that Powder was involved and she actually played a part. And Powder starts to shed tears, and she didn't mean for this to happen, and she has to, you know, she's begging for her sister to believe her. Vi, I didn't mean for this to happen. You have to believe me. And Vi, as an older sibling, is grief-stricken at the series of events and finding that her innocent sister, because she's guilty, yes, but she didn't intend for it to happen. She's now finding out that her innocent sister had played a part unintentionally, and she starts crying. Yes, of course she did, because I don't think Vi is a piece of shit. I think she's a great character, and I think she's a stick to her guns and not act a goddamn fool and start blaming her fucking younger sibling when they know full goddamn well that they didn't intend for this to happen. I'm cussing out Vi as much as I want, as much as I please for this, because what she did was just awful. What she said was awful, and it made me so fucking mad. Powder is innocent. She didn't intend to do it. This is death by unintentional association. Forgive your sister, you bastard. You dyked up bastard. Holy fuck. I like Vi, but I hate her in the scene. I hate her in the scene so much. I'm gonna cuss her out throughout this whole thing. So Vi starts crying. She starts that, you know, this is Vi's breakdown moment, but she's resilient. Jinx is not as resilient as Vi, and that's their, you know, compare and contrast. Vi is resilient, Jinx is not. Powder is not. Vi basically said you should have just stayed in your room, and she's saying it's in tears. You shouldn't have come. And Powder is now coming to the realization that her bombs did more damage than it is. Like, her eyes just whining, and she's hyperventilating. She's in tears. She's breathing hard. You know, she's having a trauma effect, and this is This is the start of a trauma effect. Why? And Vi is basically asking why. Why didn't you just stay at home? If you did, Milo and Vanders, and she's saying this while she's crying. Powder saying no. She's now also in tears. They're both crying and then coping, trying to come into terms with this. This is hard for them to both to come to terms to. And she says no. Powder says no. This isn't what I did. It isn't true. I would never. We all know that Powder would never intentionally murder her own father figure or his friends. But Jinx is not the same as I watched that series Trigun. I don't know if a lot of people have, but if you did watch the series episodes, that TV show Trigun, the character of Asher Stampede had a brother and his name was Knives. What Knives been through with his childhood trauma because he was innocent and he did nothing wrong. It got abused anyway. When he became a villain and attacked everybody, it's actually understandable because when you treat somebody like that incredibly harshly for seemingly no reason, you can actually create a sociopath out of this. But Jinx is a girl though. That would work very well for Knives and Trigun because he's a boy and he's gonna respond with violence. Where as Jinx in Jinx's case, she's gonna respond with emotion, which is exactly what she did in the original show. But in this one, in my version, she's responding with emotional denial and a strong emotional reaction in a form of a denial. And Vi is reacting in her emotional reaction to Jinx's denial. She's being just cut and dry, and she's just telling her, "You did, and if you had just stayed home." And Powder's doubling down. No, it wasn't my fault because she doesn't want to accept the reality that she killed Vanders on accident. And Vi is just in complete crying denial, and she just ends the conversation by saying, "Yes, this was your fault." And she's crying into her hand. She is sobbing because this is just so hard. This is harsh. Her sister they had no intentions of doing this, but she is responsible in a way. It is harsh. It is hard, and I am trying to explain that. I don't want a fucking mess of bullshit and just saying, "Oh, don't you feel for these characters?" No, I don't want to do it that way because I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid to execute character interactions that way in a mindless random moment that'll piss me off because I have to ask, why the fuck is everything happening this way? When the way I'm doing it, everything makes sense because I'm aware human beings have emotions. When you traumatize characters like this, yes, they're gonna react in a way that I'm displaying. So I have headphones on, so I can't hear that, but I hear it through my mic, so I can't hear anything. So so all that noise in my mic is a bit confusing for me. Powder, in denial, runs into the burning factory to look for her friends. She finds them and refuses to accept the harsh reality befallen to her. She didn't have any malice intentions. She did not. Regardless of her trying to rip her fucking face off, she didn't have any malice intentions. So why did this have to happen? And that was the whole point of the episode. It was just supposed to be a chaotic tragedy. Yeah, yes, I understand it's supposed to be a chaotic tragedy, but you have to have the characters react in a humanly way as possible. You can't just go spaz it and just say, emotions, feelings, no making sense here. Fuck you. Don't do that. It's just stupid. It's just stupid writing, and I always hate it, and I can't. You can't explain it. It's not organic, which is the whole point of this one. Number 3, goofy character interactions instead of organic ones. Okay, so Powder begins to collapse on the floor in tears. She's curling up in the fetal position, and then she's sobbing, like she's holding her head, and she is sobbing, She's crying out her emotions and crying out her emotions of despair. She's in a moment of despair, and she's begging for this awful nightmare to end. She's basically begging for Milo and the big guy to wake up. She's basically begging him to not be dead, say it isn't so. Like a real human being would react when someone closest to you dies and you did not want it to happen. This is exactly how it react. This is how fucking soldiers react when they watch their friends watch their war mates get blown up in a specified war zone. They will react in the exact same way. So this is how Powder should react, and this is how Vi should react, because that's human and that's organic and that's normal. The way they reacted in there was just so full of randomness, so full of chaoticness. Their reaction should not be chaotic. Their reaction should be rational. And the rational human reaction to this is to be in the moment of despair. Powder should be in denial. I think I'm still getting their names fixed up. If I'm doing that, I am sorry. Powder should be in denial, and Vi should be just grief-stricken. She should be in a grief, and but she's keeping her emotions together because Vi is a bit more stoic. So she has better resilience than Powder, which is the primary difference between the two. So as Powder begins to sob, Vi is still outside grieving. She's laying on Vander's corpse, and in the original, Vander's asks Vi in his last moments to take care of Powder. And of course, in the original, Powder decides to act like a dick after saying this. I'm doubling down on that. So go fuck yourself, Vi. Go fuck yourself, Vi. I almost got the names confused there. Go fuck yourself, Vi. You're a piece of shit. Don't treat your siblings like this. I would never treat my brother like this. I've said this before. You're a piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. Okay, so Vi is, in my version, Vi fully takes responsibility. She is strengthening her resolve because she's resilient. She is tough. She is strong. A proper, strong female protagonist. Without that all the whamming and all that bullshit. I didn't see that shit here. Thank the ever-living God. Series of Vi is actually MVT in like 2020 and 2021. Well-written, strong female leads, and she's not the only one. There's somebody. Well, we got Samus for Metroid Dread, but that's a video game. So this is a TV show based on a video game. So viewpoint. But they're the MVPs of strong female protagonists because they don't have to scream it and they don't have to say it. We can see it and it's appreciative. Everybody's gonna love the street kid thing for Vi because it's been a while since you've seen a legit, true, tough, on the streets of gritty street kid, taking licks and dishing them out all at the same time. That's not common to see. It's very appreciative. So Vi is fully taking responsibility because she's strong and resilient for these events, and she vows to make things right. She is determined to do exactly what Vander's asked her to do because that's her father figure, and he asked her take good care of Powder, and she is strengthening her resolve, and she's telling herself she will to be there for Powder. Now more than ever, Powder is all she has, and Vi is all Powder has. She has to be there for sister. That is a strengthening bond between two siblings, and she's establishing this on Vi's side. On Powder's side, and I'm going to explain all this in the next slide, is that this is not so. She is all that she has left. However, because Vi is in a specific scene where she's standing over Vander's, which is a dead corpse now, and the authorities show up in this burning environment in the rain. It doesn't look good at all. They take her into custody, and we all know that Silco got his hands in the military. I think there's military or this law enforcement. And he got his hands in it, and he probably found out that Vi was in there, and he kept her there. And I think that's pretty made evidently clear. I think that is decently clear, but they should have said that as a tidbit, like having Silco finding out that Vi basically has been released, and he just goes, "What do you mean she's released?" Vi is out. God damn it. Shit. Her and Powder sees this is gonna fuck with my plans, and you know that I know how Silco gets when shit don't go according to plan. He wants Vi to get rid of because he knows for a fact that Vi will continue Vander's work, and he does not want that. He definitely does not want Vi and Powder, excuse me, Jinx to reunite. He definitely does not want that, and he's gonna try everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen by being manipulative as possible for Powder. So Powder, however, is now in the hands of Silco. He is comforting her in her moment of despair. You know, he's giving her hugs and she's tending to her emotions, fragile emotions, which is understandably fragile right now. And Powder is all alone. She has Vi is not there, so in Powder's mind she has no one to turn to except for Silco. Powder in a very fractured state of mind. She is definitely fractured. She gives in to Silco completely. And things are gonna become much worse from here on because Silco is a sick fuck and he has very sick agendas, and it's not gonna look good for our characters. So that's my version of what the character dialogue that should have happened between Vi and Jinx, and I left these two paragraphs to explain exactly what is happening to these two sisters, how they're gonna come to be. And I think this works because I explained that Powder did see her dead friends, and that is what is mostly triggering for her. Because like I said earlier, that's how it works for the military. You can actually break somebody by watching. Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai did this with the Kreese. It's not the same thing, but Kreese was fucked up in the Vietnam War, and good old Vietnam. That's right, as gritty as war stories can get, along with World War II and whatnot. Vietnam was, whoo boy, soldiers had to go through some shit. What happened with the Kreese and Cobra Kai was tragic. I mean, yeah, Kreese did kill his commanding officer, but it was in such an understandable situation to understand that, yeah, Kreese or any soldier might end up doing that. Their mentality might fracture because his commanding officer was telling him, nope, it's all hopeless, because in the commander's mind, they're screwed. They're all alone. They got no weapons. They gotta fight to the death on a fucking pit of snakes. It just says what it is. We gotta do what we gotta do, and hopefully, and may the best man win. But when the cavalry arrived and started freeing it, now was the time for the commander to snap back into soldier mode and forget everything that he said earlier. Okay, the cavalry's here. We can now fight back. All right, and Kreese, are you with me? And Kreese says, "Oh no, I thought you said that this is all over." And the commander is just like, "Kreese, the cavalry's here, man. Drop it. Forget what I said earlier. Now things have changed. Like, because the commander did not know that this was going to happen." And Kreese, ended his commanding officer based on what the commanding officer was saying earlier. He broke his mind, and Kreese gave in to that broken mind. Shit, well, fuck, that works. They should have done the same thing for Jinx, and it was a complete good show and tell. Show, not tell. It was a great flashback moment. I think that was great for Kreese. Like, good God, Kreese has been through some shitting. Like that, yeah. I like those sad stories. That'll do it, man. But they didn't do that for Jinx in the original version. So I don't feel anything for this character. I don't feel fuck all for Jinx. Jinx can go fuck herself for all I care. And the way the writers keep forcing me to feel things for her, they're just making it worse. But yeah, that's my take on this is my take on what could have happened. This is a nice little critique. This is my nice little version of what could have happened in episode 3. I hope people like it and can understand what I'm trying to do, as I did explain that this is how you make characters sympathize without forcing it. You do it natural because we all have emotions, but you have to make it work in a human sense. It has to be human. It has to be humanly understandable. It can't be just random chaotic shit and random reactions and chaotic stuff. Star Trek Discovery does that shit. I mean, and I don't pay attention to a lot of reviews for it, but basically, the bottom line, no one understands how human interactions truly work in that show. So, but yeah, this is my explanation. So, go ahead. All right, so we're still on three goofy character interactions over pure real human interactions. So I'm gonna double down now. I'm at to the point where I'm not using any my YouTube comments as footnotes. I'm actually using a script that I actually wrote. So what I wrote is exactly what the writers should have what the writers should have executed if they truly wanted to achieve their goals with Jinx. I agree that now I fully believe this. The writers think abandonment makes someone insane, and that's ridiculous. The show never even indicated any potential health issues before episode 3. It came at random, and like I mean life is hard, yes, but this isn't always the outcome. So you can't just fucking do that. You can't just drop it up. This one's crazy. You gotta slowly build up to it. You gotta slowly explain it like they did with Kreese. Kreese is fucked up, but they showed why. He wasn't always like that. He became like that because of his time in Vietnam War. It's war trauma. War war trauma. Yeah, what is it called when it comes to captivity? It's war something. It's fuck, I forgot. War war abduction or it's something involving war and capture. I forgot the phrasing for it, but that's how you do it. Life is hard, yes, but that the outcome isn't always going to be someone being crazy. So you can't just do it in a story. You gotta explain it. You gotta throw that. I mean, psychiatrists do this all the time. Yes, that video may have explained how, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the writers did a good job explaining it. I should probably watch. I probably watch that video and yeah, because it just doesn't sound good if I keep saying that the writers didn't do it, but I bring up a psychiatrist, and that psychiatrist did try to explain this. Oh shit, I went back. Oh yeah, so sorry, I swapped slides. So what I wrote is exactly what yeah. I was rereading the top, so let me find back where I was. Life is hard, yes, but this isn't always the outcome. Her sanity should have been broken upon the realization of her actions. I fully believe this, and I fully think that that's exactly how it should have gone. You can't break you can't break a character by way of abandoning them. You have to actually break them. Abandonment does not break somebody. It traumatizes, yes, but it doesn't break or fracture their mind. Heck, Vi didn't even leave. She went for some fucking air and didn't actually leave her sister. She was fucking arrested. Silco lied. So Jinx wasn't even fucking abandoned. She just thinks she was. Jinx only thinks Vi abandoned her. Yeah, that's exactly what happened in the episode, and I explained that in my interaction earlier. Yeah, Jinx thinks Vi abandoned her. Vi didn't actually abandon her. She went for some fucking air. She was still up within the air. And I explained the minute Jinx saw her with Silco, she tried to go back for her sister because that's her sister. Obviously, Vi would do that. And she tried to, but random fucktard came fucking out of nowhere, arrested her, I guess. Or yeah, he abducted her. Fucking weird. It's so stupid. Like he just took her in darkness and it just made me so mad. It really does feel so goddamn forced at how they did this because Silco really lied. Vi didn't abandon Jinx. She was rough with her, yes, but Jinx wasn't actually abandoned. She thinks she was, and that's the dynamic between Jinx and Vi, and that's great and that's fine and all. But people actually think Jinx was abandoned, and they go, "Oh, it's the abandonment issues." What abandonment? Oh, you mean Vi going to get some air? Well, yeah, you can say that's abandonment, but I don't think it's abandonment if Vi was willing to come back the minute she saw Powder with Silco. That doesn't look like abandonment to me. No, it is abandonment because Vi was arrested. That's not abandonment. That's not abandonment. She was arrested. It's not abandonment. It's not a. It's, if anything, it's forced abandonment. I don't even know what the word is, but it's not abandonment. By technicality, She was arrested. Vi was abducted. She couldn't return to Powder when she wanted to. She was abducted. Jinx thinks Vi was abandoned her. Well, she never really addressed that. She never. I think she kind of did, but Vi basically was apologizing to Jinx, and she's basically saying that she's here now. She wants to come back. She wants to help be there for her sister. And Vi still did a very stupid and poor fucking job of executing this fact. She said she wanted to help her sister. Vi did fuck all in that regard in the following episode after episode 4 and later. But when they reunite, when Jinx fought Echo on the bridge, Vi just looks at her sister and just carried Caitlyn across the bridge. Soon as Vi got finished doing that, like a loving sibling that she thinks she is, she should have ran her sorry ass back over that bridge to go get her sister and try to help her. But nah, gotta get with her new girlfriend. So once again, fuck Vi, and her execution was just stupid. Yeah, so it feels forced, and it drove me crazy that I was expected to feel things for Jinx rather than just enjoy her as a villainous character. Yeah, I rather just enjoy her as a villainous character, but instead I get the whole forced sympathy stick every left and right, and it's just awful. I hate forced villainous characters. I think they're annoying as fuck. Just have a villain character. Stop always trying to make them sympathy. Just make them villains. Just make a villain, please. Make a villain. Like Sosuke Aizen. He's a fantastic villain. He's a piece of shit. But he don't need sympathize with him. He got exactly what he deserves at the end of Bleach too. Sosuke Aizen was a piece of fucking shit. I don't need to sympathize with villains to like them. I can still like Jinx without the sympathy. And I'm doubling down, mentioning that several times over because that's my whole point in all this. Jinx does not need sympathy. She needs to be enjoyable, and it can be enjoyable because she's popular in the games. So fuck you, writers. You're forcing things in that didn't need to be there. Okay, so that's the end of 3. Now we're on number 4. Show, don't tell. Like I said several times earlier, I was left asking why Jinx hallucinates her friends when she didn't see their bodies. All off screen, Bubba. All off screen. It's all in the ether. It's all in the fifis, man. You gotta feel for it. You gotta feel that Powder. See, I did it again. Powder. You gotta feel that Jinx saw her dead friends. You gotta feel for it. Because obviously, that's what happened. Because otherwise, why would she have hallucinations? And I gotta ask, did she though? If you can't actually fucking verify it, that's kind of the problem. If you can't verify it, that's the problem. And you're saying, well, obviously she did, and just trying to fill in the writing gaps for her is just utter bullshit. I don't know if she saw their dead bodies. You can't verify it with saying obviously. No, you gotta actually explain it to me. Okay, another car drove by. Sorry. It doesn't. You gotta show me. You gotta explain it to me. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna keep at. Not even the writers can do this because I didn't see it. I'm just gonna argue. Well, I don't know. I can't tell. All off screen. Just all off screen. That's right. Who cares whether you, the viewer, see Jinx's horrific realization that she killed her friends or not? Don't you feel things? Don't you feel for poor Powder? Because you didn't see her dead bodies? You didn't see it at all? Don't you feel for her because she had these random hallucinations even though you don't know why she has these fucking hallucinations? Because you don't know if she actually saw her bodies or not? Don't you feel the things? Do you feel? No! I don't. I don't fucking feel a damn thing because I don't know if she actually saw them dead. I don't know because want insanity by abandonment is not. Wait, what? Wait, what did I write? Because want insanity by abandonment, not by horror. Oh, okay. I should have put a comma there, so that threw me off. Because wanting insanity by way of abandonment over horrifying realization that you accidentally murdered your fucking friends is It's not a good justification for sanity. So I don't feel a fucking thing for Jinx. Maybe I could if you showed me seeing her witnessing her friends. I could actually feel a fucking thing in my cold dead and well guarded heart with several layers of walls and a safety face and a firewall and a gator moat and whatnot, and a den of lions and shit. Like, I'm guarded as fuck, so I mean, you gotta do a very good job to get me to feel things, and it's possible for me to feel things, man. It really is. Just to make this slide a little bit longer, like the last slides. Don't worry, it's not gonna be too long. But in Trigun, the show Trigun, there is a scene in the episodes where Vash went to one of the floating plants or city or ships. It was a floating ship, and it had a lot of humans investing in it. One of the characters, Brad, hates Vash. He thinks Vash is going to be a future problem because he's going to bring nothing but trouble, because he knows what happened in the city of July. I think they have some cool city names in there. I wish we had cool city names like that. It's creative and not very common, but it is totally American as English as all get out to name a city July, and like naming a city after months, fucking great. That's brilliant. But yeah, Brad hates Vash because he sees Vash as a problem, and I think Brad is aware that Vash is not a normal human. I think he is, but. And it was a 2-part episode, and Vash and Nicholas D. Wolfwood help defend the city, the ship, as best as they can with the problem of one of the sub villains of the show show up to wreak havoc, and they murdered a lot of people, doubling down on why Brad hates Vash in the first place. Nicholas D. Wolfwood reasoned with them, saying that Vash is trying. He's trying. He doesn't actually want to hurt anybody, and you should respect that and see that within him. I guess because Brad had his interaction with Nicholas D. Wolfwood, he checked his errors, his human errors, and when the ship was more or less put out of commission, and the humans within the ship had to go back down to the return to the planet, and now have to play ball with everybody else. They can't live in their safety net, their little safe space. They now have to deal with the horrors of the harsh realities of surviving on the planet. But the people are still here. Now the villain is a puppet master, so he had control over a girl that Brad actually has feelings for. So it caught him and Vash off guard when it was revealed that the girl that Brad had a crush on is actually a puppet. Because the real chick was still with Nicholas D. Wolfwood, and he came to the balcony and yelled this, and they saw on the balcony that was the real one, and he was with Nicholas D. Wolfwood, and without a second thought, they looked back at the imposter, and they realized what the situation was. In a split second, the puppet pulled out the gun and started to shoot at Vash, because that was their enemy. They wanted Vash to suffer by way of death, if anything. I think that was my phone. I'm doing vibrates. So he wanted them to suffer. Without thinking, in a split second, Brad puts himself in the line of fire and defends Vash. The man that he hates, he despised, he hated Vash, but I guess this conversation with Nicholas D. Wolfwood helped him realize something, and Brad pulled a Flash Thompson move and defended a person that he despises, and he ended up dying for it. That episode really hit me and got me to feel things for the characters, because Brad is actually a good person. He just wants to protect his people. And the reason that he's angry at Vash is because he perceives Vash as a threat. He's actually very human, and he's can be very sympathized with. He's just a dick, if anything, which is totally more or less normal. He's not a sick, manipulative fuck. He's not a freak of nature. He's not a rotten piece of shit. He's human. and he risked his life for somebody that he hate, and I can relate to that because like. Yeah, like that's that. Like, seeing that, even if it's just an animated TV show, seeing somebody do that, just out of pure instinct of the goodness within their own heart, it's relatable. It makes me sympathize. It makes me feel things because it was well written and as well execution because it shows that regardless of how fucked up we are as human beings, regardless of how sinful we are as human beings, and every fucked up thing we done while we're on this planet, at the end of the day, we can still choose to do the right thing. And that's what that scene says to me. No matter how fucked up you are, you always have the choice to do the right thing. And Brad acted on that because he truly is a good person. And that made me feel things for the character. But no, Jinx does not get that from me because I got so many fucking questions and I asked so many damn questions. What I felt for Brad risking his life, and what happened with Nicholas D. Wolfwood later in the later episodes, for that matter. I feel things for those characters, or characters like those that are written like those. I don't feel a fucking thing for Jinx. Jinx can go fuck herself. Jinx can go get bent, and the writers can suck on it for trying to make me feel things for this character. No offense to the writers. I don't hate them. I don't want to harass them. I don't want to, I don't want them to like lose their jobs or anything. I just don't like the fact that they force me to feel things. I just hate that so much. But yeah, that's my thing for 4. Show don't tell. And this is pretty short for 4. I didn't write 2, so I skipped it. So whoops a daisy. So here on this slide, you can see I'm gonna grab this pic from the internet. You can see the Patreon information. If you like the art and you want to support this artist, you can see the writing over there in the corner, and you can actually support. You can actually go support the artist at if you like him, or you can go follow him on DeviantArt. Follow them. It's a Facebook link. Who the fuck still uses that? So weird. Anyways, so that's a pic. This is a picture of Jinx as a Star Guardian. Like I said earlier, Jinx was popular enough to become a Star Guardian in the games of League of Legends. I really don't think she needs a sympathy. I really don't think she needs it. I think she's fine just the way she is. Fine enough to be an Star Guardian. So, I mean, explain that in this. The problem, as I've said several times, I'm just gonna conclude on this with number 5. If it ain't broke, don't fuck with it. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. Don't. Like they did this with Boba Fett. Boba Fett was loved and praised for being a badass. If it ain't something wrong with that, then don't fuck with it. Leave him be. Let him be a badass. Let him X people off for fucking with his deals. If for trying to kill him, for trying to assassinate him, let him be the badass. Let him be a real Mandalore and kill people on the spot for looking at his ass funny. Nah. We got Beta Fett instead. Instead of Boba Fett, we got Beta Fett. Jake Beta Fett. Or Beta J Fett. That's what we got. We got Beta J Fett. Beta J Fett. J short for Jake. Beta J Fett. Like that. I love it. That's personal for me. The problem I have with Jinx is that she was an all-right character before Arcane even started. She was just fine. She was well received. She was more or less well received in the games League of Legends, Wild Rift. I was forced to play her in the tutorial, but the character more or less she didn't really gain my attention. I didn't resonate with her more or less. More or less, I didn't really care for her when I played the games. My favorite characters in the games are actually Lux. I like Ari, so you shoot me for that for liking the most generic character, and Rengar. Rengar is actually my favorite, my all-time favorite, more or less, because I have a thing for lions. If you can tell, I'm trying to put my avatar. Not when I'm doing the recording, my avatar is not visible, but I'm gonna try and put them on here. I didn't play the game League of Legends for long, but I am familiar with the character enough, and I get why she's popular through the Star Guardian stuff. Because I actually had to go read and look this up because I was interested. I like the Sailor Moon's any Sailor Moon spinoff. Any Sailor Moon spinoff is going to be popular to me, and should be popular among girls, even in America, because Sailor Moon was the shit in Japan. She didn't do so well in America because there's a reason for that. There's a reason for why Sailor Moon wasn't popular in America. No, it wasn't evil men, because just American girls in general don't really care for comics or animation. Animation wasn't as popular among chicks in the late 80s and 90s as it was in the mid 2000s. So I'm basically familiar with the character, and she's basically the Riot Games Junkrat. Basically, that's who she is. Jinx, as I stated, Jinx was popular enough to become a Star Guardian later after she was released. Used sometimes late after she was released. I think it was 2019, maybe. I don't know what year it was. Definitely wasn't 2020 or 2021. I could be wrong on that. She was probably enough to become a Star Guardian, and in this version of Jinx, she was more or less like Harley Quinn, kind of, sort of. You know what they tried to do, what DC tried to do with her when they made her a hero. Even though she's not, because she's not with the Joker anymore, but she's just crazy for crazy's sake, because that's just who she is. But for Jinx, she's not actually villainous. She was more or less antagonistic, and she really liked action and blowing stuff up. So she doesn't really care for the values and virtues of being a Star Guardian, but she when it comes to fighting and blowing stuff up, she's always there, and she's actually best friends with Lux, which is supposed to be like a cheerleader, a proper, well-established pro positive type character without the toxic portion. So they actually best friends, but they disagree on what it means to be a Star Guardian, and Jinx more or less doesn't really give a fuck. That character alone is what they need to make her a decent villain right there. She's antagonistic, and she really loves blowing stuff up. That's great. That's all you need. You can just work with that right there and just make a good villain. She doesn't require all this extra stuff. Jinx is a manic punk gal who loves to blow things up. That's it. This could have been hinted when she witnessed her first explosion in episode 1 of Arcane, when she first got the blue bombs. So when she saw that first explosion, she should have been intrigued and enthusiastic and should have just fell in love. Why she is the way she is doesn't really need a deep, sympathetic explanation. I'm doubling down on that. It's pointless, and it's stupid that it's there. I hate it that it's there. I do agree support mental health awareness, but I hate it when it's forced and it's shoved everywhere where it's not needed, where it's not wanted. I don't need that shit everywhere. There's a better way of doing this than, like, BoJack Horseman did a very better things of explaining mental health and how important that it is to understand that people are damaged and fucked up without forcing it. Well, they still forced it for BoJack Horseman, as one of the EFAPs that I watched, Fringy did point out something that I did notice, but I didn't really consider it a valid criticism. But I'm glad that he pointed it out, and I full-heartedly agree. What they did with BoJack Horseman is that and towards the later episodes, he got his counselor drunk by accidentally, because one of the bottles that he was holding on to had liquor, like it was like weeks old liquor, and I don't think it aged or nothing, but he kept it on him as a momentum, and he dropped it, and it dropped in such a contriving, goofy ass way, and then it ended up in the counselor's possession, and he drunk it, and he got buzzed, and he got back on drinking, and it's somehow BoJack's fault that all that came to fruition. And Fringy pointed out that that's bullshit and it's stupid, and he's right. He actually is right. I mean, that was forced. It's forced a lot. Like, everything awful bad happens to BoJack, and BoJack is the only one who has to pay consequences for his actions. They did not do this with what's her face? What's her name? The one that voices the Nguyen something Nguyen. What was her name? It was, I think it started with a V. Her last name was Nguyen. Forgot her name. Diana. Her name was Diana. Diana Nguyen. Diana Nguyen. Nguyen. It's supposed to mean Nguyen, but you're not supposed to say Nguyen. You're supposed to say Nguyen. Nguyen. No, you don't pronounce the N too hard, I think. How the fuck should I know? Pronunciation of that word is not easy when you spell it. But yeah, they didn't do shit fuck all for Diane. Diane never had to actually pay the consequences for all her feminist bullshit that she caused. She never paid the consequences. She never even paid the consequences for her being exactly like BoJack. She never paid the consequences for that. She just got a fee happy ending. Bullshit. Fuck you. Why couldn't BoJack get the happy ending? Why couldn't he just be happy being a teacher and he slowly has to be haunted by the actions that he did, even though he didn't want to. He was doing great as a teacher and he actually liked his job. So they fucked him over for no reason, and it was bullshit. And Frenchie was right, point to call it out, and I'm glad he did, because I didn't notice, and I'm glad to somebody call out stuff that I didn't notice about a show that I liked. Thank you, Frenchie. Anyway, so why she is the way she is doesn't really need a deep explanation. If she was already well received as a game character, then she would have been just fine when thrown in Arcane, meaning she really did not need it. But I did read an article or a comment section. I read somewhere. I'm sorry I can't find it and show you. I really wish I had that information, but it's hard for me to go find some little square comment section information like that. I read somewhere in an article or comment section where the writer stated that they weren't going to make Jinx a villain character. Like, they didn't want her to be, bad for bad's sake. They were going to make her a sympathetic villain. My exact problem with that action alone, because she didn't need it, and it just makes it insufferable that the writers were going to do it. I know, I get they like the character, but I would have liked the character too if you didn't force me to feel sympathy for her every goddamn 2 minutes. Every time she's on screen, man. Every time. Okay, so continuing on with my number 5. Jinx now has a sympathetic backstory that really went straight downhill. Because in episode 4, game Jinx and Arcane, Jinx become more or less one and the same, as I stated earlier. The reason Jinx is a marksman is supposed to be foreshadowing her gun skills for a turret gun that doesn't even require aiming, as far as I'm concerned. Caitlyn is the goddamn sniper. So what the fuck was even the point in making Jinx a marksman if Caitlyn's already a marksman? Why did you make Jinx a marksman? Plus, Jinx being a marksman makes me confused on how she is the useless one. As I stated many times over, I'm basically concluding, clutch or not, kid has fucking skill. Makes no damn sense to be makes no damn sense to be a little child marksman when no one can best her at gunslinging. Milo can't beat her at gunslinging. He has to admit that she has some skill. Why do people think that she's useless? Good God. Oh. Oh, that scene after the scene where Powder beated Milo in the gunslinging game that Powder invented. And she was sick of Milo's shit, so she owned his ass in gunslinging, and Milo just sat there with a shocked look on his face because he got wrecked. He got owned. He got put under he got bent. Like, get bent, mate. Like, and then they continue to say, Powder's useless. Like, I'm sorry, hey, Milo, remember when Powder kicked her starry teeth in that gunslinging game? I don't know, she doesn't look useless to me. Forced. It's forced because Powder isn't useless. I will stand on that. I will die on that grave. No one can beat her in gunslinging. So, no, I don't feel for Jinx's relationship with her childhood friends thanks to that sole contradiction. I think all those damn kids are fucking stupid. So I can't sympathize with them or justify anything. Then I'm just gonna flat out say it. No, these kids are retarded. These kids are stupid. Every fucking thing that they say, every goddamn thing they did, which is more or less fucking stupid. And they never should have treated Jinx the way they did. I can't feel sorry for it because I think those kids were retarded. I don't feel sorry for Jinx because of the by way of execution. And I stated that over several times. Sorry for the several repeats. Jinx's sanity is supposed to be triggered by her abandonment issues, which is just stupid because Vi was arrested and could have returned to Jinx when Vi saw her with Silco, as I said earlier. So forced separation, not thank you. There it is. It's forced separation, not abandonment. They were forcefully separated. It's not abandonment. Jinx thinks is abandonment, and that's the dynamic between her and Vi. Because she thinks her sister abandonment. When it was really by writing and execution to the audience, it's forced separation. It's not abandonment. Anybody who says it's abandonment is a fucking idiot, and they didn't watch that scene without putting their freaking emotions every damn where. But hey, that's how the scenes were working. They were working to focus on your feelings, focus on your emotions, and I got sick of it every time they tried to do it. Forced separation, not abandonment. I don't give a fuck how Jinx feels. Having emotions in general doesn't mean fuck all. Jinx's sanity would have been executed well if it was based on her misfortunate bomb, based on her fortunate bomb and the outcome, and she's seeing the outcome rather than her fragile self-esteem. Like, get over it. Like, good God, she is nowhere on the level of Carrie. And fuck anybody who thinks she is. Get over yourself. It's fucking ridiculous. I should have concluded. I got to clean up my slides just to make sure. But that's. I'm just gonna conclude it right there. If you liked the video, I would appreciate a like, because I don't get a lot of likes on my videos. Not that they're well made, but this is my very first video doing some critiquing. It's not a critique video. It's more or less a mindless rant. And this video is going to probably be a little more over 40 minutes. So I apologize for that. That is 40 minutes, but I just want to talk and put my opinions out there. If you disagree with my opinions, that's great. I don't give a damn if you I don't give a damn if you do disagree. But if you have a nice little explanation as to why, I will gladly like to hear it. I would like to hear an intellectual assessment or response of where I am wrong with the thing. But if you're not gonna use logic and reasoning and emotional rationality, and you're just gonna say preach the Fifi game, I probably will care with anything what you have to say. I already ran through that once, and I can't have an argument, a debate with somebody who preaches Fifis. It just doesn't work. They don't even hear what you say. So that's it. I am done. I'm sorry this video is gonna be long, but it's gonna be long. But I just really wanted to talk this out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hearing what I have to say. If you watched it, greatly appreciate it. You know, if you want to hear more, if you think that I should do this more often, because I'm thinking of doing this. I want to talk to a community, and if I could do this by way of YouTube, I do it. I like to do it, but you know, it depends on whether you actually want me to do this or not. Regardless of whether you actually agree with me, so I would appreciate some decent feedback on this if you want me to continue doing more stuff like this, because I could talk about any nerd stuff, any video games, any character that I like. Anything, I could just give an opinion on it. I could just give a short opinion on what I think about it, what I like about it, how I feel about it. I could do that, but you know, I mean, if it's not gonna amount to anything like over time, and if I just constantly post videos and they just sit there for the longest time and nobody sees them or watches them, my past videos, then I'm gonna feel like that is pointless. So if I can get some good feedback from this, any feedback at all, views at all, and feedback would really push me to constantly keep doing this. Even though this is my first critique, I really need the feedback so I can stay motivated to actually do this. Because otherwise, I just feel like that I'm throwing videos at a wall, and I don't like the feeling of that. But so thanks for watching and hearing what I have to say.